cleaning, maintenance, reception, sales, associates, retail. You post with one click, you hire the right people for the job, and the first, within probably 6 minutes, you're getting your first one. Try it for free at jobget.com/handle, jobget.com/handle.
SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a rainy start to the day, so the showers will last off and on today. The heaviest rain's going to start tonight all the way through Wednesday for all of Southern California. Highs will be in the 50s and are still level by Wednesday. Could drop down to 3,000 feet. This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places like the 5.
And we're finally going somewhere on 5 in Galena Park, southbound at the 91. That crash is clear. Traffic recovering back from Auto Center Drive. Now there's an additional crash nearby in the Center Divide, but not nearly as serious as the first one. In Westminster, crash there 22 eastbound at Valley Index in the Center Divide, causing some problems, some slowing. In Laguna Hills, we've got stalled on the 5 freeway southbound before Alicia Parkway. Disabled vehicle on the right side. And also the crash, they're actually stopping the traffic in Riverside 91 freeway westbound between La Sierra and Green River. KFI in the sky helps get you there. Some blind shades and shutters to satisfied customers across the country. With 20,000 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com. This report is sponsored by the California DMV. Did you know that many DMV tasks, like renewing your registration or starting your Real ID application, can be done online any time of day? Check them off your to-do list without a trip to the DMV. Get started today at dmv.ca.gov/online.
This is Bruce Smith. The service chapter is plumbing, cleaning, and AC. It's another good deed for free. Our technician Thomas was with this training mat with one of the cleanup recently for an elderly woman. She said she'd been waiting eagerly for them to show up, but she heard on the radio that we do good deeds for free. She had a broken head. She explained that her husband had recently passed away, and that he had solved those kinds of problems. Thomas and Matt fixed that cleaner, licking his foot, and got the cleanup by his work. The happy widow thanked them profusely, and she said she was so grateful to a company that does good deeds for free. Well, it's our pleasure. Can you do a good deed for you too? Give us a call. 7 seconds. Plumbing, cleaning, AC, and good deeds for free.
The podcast Let's Start a Coup wonders, what if the secret cabal of the nation's most powerful people tried to overthrow the president? Explore how it almost happened to FDR in the 1930s in this darkly comedic retelling of one of American history's weirdest scenes.
And for you, Major General Stratton Butler, nothing will ever do the same. Why? Is it something bad?
Listen to Let's Start a Coup on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
He shoots, he scores, he shoots, he scores. You just can't miss watching college ball with Orlando. Now your top reasons to visit Orlando.
It's total madness. From 16 to 8, then 4. You can watch every sport, everywhere you eat. Get a slam and sandwich maker, and you earn 500 points on the reward card, the 27th or 28th.
Orlando, good times. Losing your air conditioner on a hot summer day can be a sweat and all nightmare, and no one wants that, Zach. Help your air conditioner last longer and reduce breakdowns with a rejuvenation.
We'll make 6 critical adjustments so you'll stay cool, use less energy, and increase the life of your system.
We'll clean the outdoor coils the right way, not the easy way.
Rejuvenation, just $129.
Yellow Air Conditioning, GOETTL.com. We'll keep you cool, but it's hard to spell. License number 1047, 781. Portions of the following program will be recorded.
Faculty members face felony charges for elder endangerment
because you didn't COVID test them the day that they arrived for care.
You can shoot someone and get away with probation, but you can't take care of elderly people without facing 13 felonies.
Jerry and Shannon.
This seems a little bit crazy.
Live 9 to 1 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. KFI, AM 640, Bill Handel here on a Monday morning, March 20th, first day of spring. Just look outside. And former President Trump says he's expected to be arrested
You're listening to
tomorrow
an
on his
Airwave
call
Media
for
Podcast.
demonstration. By the way, is he going to be arrested tomorrow? He is. Just saying. Okay, before we go back to do they have a case? Wayne and I were talking about a case where the appeals court said that it shot as it was police officers not doing their job. It shot the
Transformation.
And as I said, it really goes a long way to shock the punches the court. I don't think that made it. One of the cases, one of my first favorite cases back in law school was where for the first time the courts would allow a lawsuit for a food additive in a non-food product. And it was a plug of chewing tobacco.
Last time, we ended with restoration of the Shah dynasty from ruin by Shah
And
Khan
he bit into a decomposed human toe.
of the pretender, General
That
Khan.
one shocked the conscience of the court. I'll go
We're
that
going
one.
to follow the Shah dynasty's
Chewing on
long
a
second
decomposed
decline,
human toe. Oh, okay, got it.
gravity, who was
But not police
final
officers
defeat at the hands of
leaving
one of
the
his own
scene
vassals.
what they thought was an issue where there wasn't, and there was.
Unfortunately,
Okay, let's
there were
move
quite
on.
a few Shah emperors that we know very little
Oh
about.
man, I hope nobody was
This is
eating
largely
tater
due to
tot.
the
I
nature of
hope
this
they were
questionable
while you were
service,
telling that story.
which
All
is in
right,
turn
here we go.
due to the total lack of
First Amendment,
resources.
Pledge of Allegiance.
What we do have is written in
You know that
1500
in
and 2000
Texas, the
years
law
after
says
the
kids
fact.
must say the Pledge of
So
Allegiance
before we get to the
unless they have a written note from their parents that they are excused from saying the Pledge of
let's
Allegiance.
first take a look at
That's
exactly which
yeah,
sources
although that
remain
seems to be
available.
unconstitutional because the Supreme
The
Court has ruled that
annals,
under no
records of
circumstances can
story,
you compel a child
which I've for
to
brevity's
say the
sake
pledge,
we
salute
call
the
it
flag,
the
or any of
Shinji.
that. But okay, here is a young
The
lady
Mandal
who
annals
does
are
not
the
want
older
to
of the Jew
say the
tales.
Pledge of Allegiance.
It extends
She
to the
has
year
a problem
299
with the
BC,
under God part because there are
Foreign
many
States
religions,
period,
she says.
which infers
And
that it was
also,
completed between
She feels that there's a lot of
297 and
injustice in
296.
this country, so it's not really
The volume was
appropriate for her
interred
to say
along
it.
with several
And
other
she
Chinese
gets into a class
classics,
with a teacher who does not like this one little
and the tale of King Moon,
So here's what he
with
does.
one of the warlords of this tumultuous
He
period,
assigns
Jiang
the
Wei,
class
around 296 BCE.
to transcribe
There it
the
would lay
Pledge of
some
Allegiance
400 years
from memory.
before being unearthed as part of the Jizhou
And
discovery
then
in 281
that is
Jin
a
dynasty.
discussion of the lyrics to
In
Bruce
fact, it's lucky
Springsteen's
that these
song
works were buried for
Born in
4
the
centuries,
USA.
as only a few
She
decades
says,
after they were
I'm not
interred
writing
in
the Pledge
213
of
BC.
Allegiance.
The emperor of
It's
the
the same
Jin
thing as
dynasty,
making
Shi
me
Huang,
say the
purged
Pledge of Allegiance.
historical records and had virtually
And he
all
prefers you.
documents and books burned.
In fact,
We'll
comes
get into
in
the
the next
details
day,
more when we come
and
to
he
the
makes a
directive.
big long rambling
But for
speech,
now,
which I read the
suffice it to
transcript
say,
of, which I
Shi
will spare
Huang
you.
did not want
But
his
it's
reign
pretty
down.
long and it's
He
pretty
went against
rambling. He
precedents
is
or
clearly
records.
very upset that she would not write the pledge.
It's
He
important to
talks
mention
about
that in the days
communism
before
is
Peter
bad,
came up,
immigrants who come to this
many
country
in
and don't
all
assimilate
literature
are bad,
has
people
been
who think sex offenders can be
books
rehabilitated
of any
are
kind,
bad. He
precious
goes on
and
and on
above
about
all,
all of it.
usually only
And
the imperial
then
family, and maybe
he
some
starts
particularly wealthy
basically
lords,
hassling this
much
young
in the
lady
way of
by, for
historical
example,
annals.
repeatedly making her
So
sit in
when
different
Shipwell
places in
declared
class
that
every
all
day,
books were to be burned,
disparaging her
he had
in
the
front
power
of
to
the
do
rest of the
exactly
class
that.
as to her
And
lack
fairly
of
easily.
extracurricular activities, so on
On
and
its
so
own,
forth.
this public
Phase
purge of
two.
information would have
This
been
is
offset by the
retaliation
fact
for a
that private
constitutionally
copies of
protected
most of the
activity, which is to not have to
but
write the
once again
pledge.
showing how
He
precarious a
says,
position books have held throughout most of history.
you have no case.
Any and all of
Now,
these
some of it is
also
just, I
destroyed
didn't do all
the
the
rebel
things you
Shah
said I
Yu
did.
burned
That's
the
one
imperial
thing.
palace
But
in
he also
206
says
BCE. Exciting,
writing
but we'll
the
cross that
flag
bridge when we get there.
is different than saying
Our
it.
second primary source
You
is
have
the
a
records of the grand
constitutional right,
historian,
I admit,
were
to not,
Chinese or
constitutional right to not
who was
write it.
written by none other than the
So
grand
you can't
historian
come at me
himself.
because I didn't do anything to you because of
Good of
your
I had to do some
constitutionally
digging into
protected
the
behavior.
historian's side
That's the case.
because
I'm
I
going
thought
to
I'd
actually go with the
error
teacher on this
in his
one,
name.
where it doesn't seem, and
Frankly,
I'll
I
tell you
thought
why.
they got them backwards.
Because, and it
Chinese,
relates to what
as
happened
well
to
as
me,
most East Asian
because
names,
writing the
surname
pledge
first,
in terms
and
of
Chinese
analysis
surnames are
relative
almost
to
always
the lyrics
monosyllabic.
of Bruce Springsteen song and
etc.
analyzing it
But there was
is
no
fairly
mistake.
different than writing it, for
Historian
example, for
Silas
the
Family
purpose of
was
saluting the flag.
duosyllabic and uses
It
two
is
characters.
an analysis issue.
It's just
I,
that.
for example, in high school,
That
took a
was
course
the city
in biblical studies. It was a study of
beginning in
the
the
Bible,
9
even the
and
New
finishing
Testament.
in
But it was not religious.
firmly
It was
in
as a historical and literature document,
the earliest
which is
recordings
very
of
different than looking at it in terms of its biblical connotation. So I'm going to argue now. Him ostracizing her and all of that is another issue. I think the lawsuit flies for the statement, but not the actual analysis. What did the court say? This is the way I would go. Here's the problem. It all hinges on whether declining to write out the pledge is constitutionally protected, because if it is, then he retaliated against her for constitutional credibility, and if it isn't, then he's just giving her a hard time. So for the second time today, you end up with the minority dissenter in a split decision who agreed with you. It's not the same thing from a First Amendment standpoint. The other two judges on the panel, though, said it is functionally the same for First Amendment purposes if you force somebody to say it or you force them to write it. Yeah, but again, I'm still going to go in my direction saying there's a big difference if you're writing it to analyze as opposed to declare your allegiance to the flag in the United States, especially when you're talking about comparing the lyrics to a Bruce Springsteen song. So I stand by my view of it, and to the judges who went the other way, I am flipping them. Constitutionally protected. Okay, all right. We'll do this again tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow. All right. Shannon and Black Thompson.
Yes, isn't it fun?
No, yeah, it is. No,
I do too. That's why it's fun.
I love seeing a handle finish that race. I watched the Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
What happened? What happened to your head?
Oh, I just hit it on my cabinet.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you, Shannon, and so I think even you would agree with this. He did the most unhandled thing and then the most handled.
There you go.
The unhandled thing was that he finished the race and they got the medal.
I don't believe that. I saw that.
No, I saw it. I saw it.
Well, I saw the picture of him in the medal this morning, but I think he took it from somewhere.
No, I actually finished the race. That was his race.
And here's the most handled thing that he did, which was he passed the finish line and he just collapsed right there.
Well, yeah, pretty much. It's on Instagram. There's video? Yeah, there is. Okay, Mark Thompson, Atmospheric Rivers, thank you very much.
Yes.
Shannon, what else is going
The
on?
only reason Mark is here is because he lost so much money over the weekend on March Madness. He had to pick up an extra bill.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
All right.
We'll wrap it up. I can tell.
I know, right?
I'll be listening.
We have 4 hours.
Shannon and Mark Thompson in today. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Cruising around with your top down. Wind blowing through your leg here.
Hey, someone speaker saying click KFI AM 640. AOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Preparing again. I'm Jennifer Jones, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Officials in San Bernardino County say they are getting ready for more winter weather. They say this storm is expected to peak tomorrow and Wednesday, then dump as much as 3 more feet of snow on the mountain community. Now, some of those areas were hit with as much as 10 feet of snow during the storms in late February and early this month. Snow levels this time around are expected to drop to 3,000 feet. 2 to 4 inches of rain is also forecast for the mountain areas and even the coast and valleys, 51 to 2 inches. Governor Newsom has proposed a ballot measure to expand mental health services and treatment beds in the state. KFI's Blake Trolley reports live. The governor wants to add billions of dollars to the state's mental health treatment system.
The initiative will be partially funded by a bond that would raise between $3 billion to $5 billion. The governor says that money would go towards creating a new behavioral health bed or new behavioral health bed in what he calls state-of-the-art facilities. Right now, we're looking at supporting minimum 6,000 beds. That's gone to a multi-year needs assessment that will provide support to 10 to 12,000 individuals. Houston's proposal would also direct at least $1 billion from the existing Mental Health Services Act to house people with mental health and substance abuse issues. Some housing would be specifically aimed at veterans. The proposed ballot measure, which first needs to be approved by the legislature, would go before voters in 2024. Reporting live, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
The union representing representing tens of thousands of LA school district employees, says it is moving forward with plans to strike. The Service Employees International Local 99 says workers will walk tomorrow through Thursday to protest the school district's unfair practices. The union wants a 30% pay hike, among other things, and if cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodians, and others do strike, schools will be forced to close. Now, school district officials say a state labor board is considering an effort by the district to avert that strike. The district argues the strike is illegal because the union's official justification is that the real reason for the walkout. The district claims it's not about labor practices, but about pressuring the district to improve its salary offers. The California Public Employee Relations Board denied a request over the weekend for an injunction. An aid worker from the U.S. who was kidnapped in Niger over 6 years ago has been released from custody. The Biden administration says the release was the result of years of effort. In 2016, the man was kidnapped from his home in the West African country by armed men who ambushed and killed his guard. He's been doing humanitarian aid work in Niger for more than 30 years. The White House says no ransom was paid and no concession was made to the two man's captors. North Korea says it simulated a nuclear attack on South Korea with a ballistic missile launch. Says that a nuclear forces in the face of aggression by his enemies. The Federal Reserve will close a two-day meeting Wednesday with its latest decision on whether to keep raising interest rates in an effort to tame inflation. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis says there's a sense of caution on Wall Street after UBS said it would buy Credit Suisse for $3.25 billion to avoid a third bank failure this month. The Credit Suisse deal following a week of volatility and panic set off by the collapse of two major U.S. banks, Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. The central bank's been increasing rates in an effort to make borrowing more difficult and slow the economy. And Amazon plans to eliminate 9,000 more jobs over the next few weeks. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy says the second phase of the company's annual planning process was completed this month, and it led to those additional job cuts. Your KFI Financial Report is brought to you by Jacoby and Myers. The Dow is down to, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.85. Don't wait. Maximize your compensation after an accident. Call Jacoby and Myers now. Justice for you since 1972. Here's SoCal weather from KFI. We've got showers starting the day today, and then later on we'll get heavy rain tonight into tomorrow. Tomorrow, in addition to the rain, we also have a high wind warning for all of Southern California, lasting until tomorrow night. Wednesday, we could see the snow levels drop to about 3,000 feet, but otherwise, for the rest of us, that will be in the low to mid 50s. Right now it's 59 in Huntington Beach, 57 in Fullerton, 56 in Arcadia, and in Santa Monica. Let's get a look at your drive with UKFI in the sky in the 10.
There's just got some problems in Pomona. The 10 freeway she had westbound past Florida Grove. Crack being worked on there, and not much in the way of major slowing, but expect a distraction for a client or two. Crashing off on this time, it's on the 105. Found Crenshaw Boulevard crash there in Purple Lane. You're going to be stopping to go back to Prairie Avenue. Money first maximum on 10 freeway down at Valley Boulevard. That's on the right shoulder. It's slow from Baldwin Avenue. And that crash is cleared to Westminster 22 freeway, found at Valley. Verify in the sky. Let's get you there faster. I'm Will Bullshriver. This hour is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Let's go places.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire the largest injury firm in the world for your injury case? Let me calculate. Your case will be handled by your lawyer, paralegal, and a case manager who's always in the office for your lawyers in court. There's also a 24-hour hotline. If you ever have a question or a problem, we've collected over $15 billion and won a lot. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. Lots of people hire us. Morgan & Morgan.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive. What's one thing you purchase with a little extra savings? A weighted blanket, a smart speaker, and a new self-care trend you keep hearing about. Well, Progressive wants to make sure you're getting what you want by helping you save money on car insurance. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save over $700 on average, and customers can qualify for an average of 6 discounts when they sign up. Discounts like having multiple vehicles on your policy. Progressive offers outstanding coverage and award-winning claim service. Day or night, they have customer support 24/7, 365 days a year. When you need them most, they're at their best. Call off your rate each month goes a long way. Get a quote today at Progressive.com and see why 4 out of 5 auto customers recommend Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company its national annual average insurance savings by new customer survey to save from Progressive June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary, discounts vary, and are not available in all states and situations.
Gary Hoffman. Gary Hoffman. Gary and Shannon.
Let's begin this new chapter together. And let's start the war right now.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Gary's away for a few days. So Mark Thompson has agreed to join me, and I'm thrilled.
The thrill is mine.
You're not going to pass out over there and fall into the depths, are you? Not to
It was scary. It was the whole thing was like a little like slowing down a traffic accident.
I felt bad watching it the second time.
Yeah, and believe me, by the fifth time, you really feel bad watching it. So, just saying. But then oddly, by like the seventh or eighth time you're watching, it's not.
You're a terrible.
No, I really liked the one, but it really was. You felt for her.
So
But she's gonna be okay, right?
yeah, you've had issues, I guess, some health issues in the past. We'll talk about it coming up in the next hour.
Anyway, I'll be here and fully engaged in charge.
That's awesome. Speaking of before the 21st.
I always been 20th person.
Okay. Because I heard on the radio on the way in, a guy who works for another station adamant about the fact that spring starts on the 21st. And he's yelling at his partner about it. Like, very, very serious reaction.
Well, we all need to carve out our territory for the issue being the kind of thing that you really want to, go to court over. But I guess it's nice that some people do. Yeah, I think tomorrow's the first full day. It's not really work yet. So I guess
Then maybe that's what he means.
yeah.
We are having a massive school strike upon us. We're just a day away from LA Unified shutting its doors for 3 days. Employees with LA Unified planning to strike. They want like a 30% raise for these employees. I think the district came to them and just out there reported last week that it was a 5% hike. So that's quite the divide there. We'll stay on top of that. I heard a school board member for one of the people who works for the union say that it's commit to children's lives. And I'm thinking, well, how the hell does that, you getting more money than the child?
Well, they have to do something next to the kids, and so in a way, I understand why they say that. It is true, though, that this will bring everything to a halt, right? I mean, even, this having kids in school that you don't focus on necessarily, but it's a fact. They're there. You can go to work. You can right? So all of a sudden, to have everything shut down, you now have child care responsibilities to deal with. The ripple effects if you have food is, how these kids get fed. So, yeah, I think this will be, they're making their point effectively, but as you say, in some cases, like the maintenance workers, probably do deserve a bump. You know what I mean? The numbers are pretty low. But,
live in LA and make $25,000 a year. You can't. But the smile on your face is the smile I feel in my heart, because you and I never have to deal with childcare. It's one of my great joys.
although the cats are really do balancing the needs of my cats. Actually,
How many do you have?
well, it's going to sound like a lot. I have 40. No, I have 4. And that does sound like a lot because I suppose it is. But
Seems like so much.
I have
I
to tell
feel
you,
like over and under on cats is clear.
right. And most people have too. And I always, I'm not going to tell you a story, but I'm just going to say I had the 3 first. And then we got a stray. That's why I got the report. So we had 3, which you might consider over the limit also. But that was pretty manageable. They're all together. They're cool. And everybody, But the 4th is a stray and the most adorable, most magnificent. It's a stray cat would run for president. She's so magnificent and charming.
What is her name?
Cash is her name, C-A-S-H, because she's black. And Courtney named her because of Johnny Cash wearing black, I guess was good thinking. Anyway, it's a cute name. But having 4, to your point, these
too many.
A little bit, I relate to the people who
Maybe the next stray you just let it play out there and stay stray.
I'm telling you, this stray has changed our lives for the better.
I can tell. You just get 8 minutes on it. Donald Trump is bracing for, they say, the most legally perilous week since he left the White House, with a Manhattan DA likely to bring criminal charges against him over his role as paying off the court for Stormy Daniels. Of all the things he has done, this is going to be the thing that gets him.
It's crazy. It's wild. It's even from a legal standpoint, probably the least onerous, right? It's the least intense. But it's the first one to the party.
He has posted in all caps on Truth Social that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday, tomorrow, and he called for his supporters to engage in protest. Kind of reminiscent of what led up to the January 6th Capitol attack, right? And the question is, does he have that mobilization power anymore that he had back before January 6th? People have been kind of lukewarm to his call for protest.
Yeah, I got the under on this one. I'm going to call that. I don't think that he's going to get quite the crowds that would show up on January 6th. There was also a ramp up to January 6th, for example, just if we're comparing it to the last riot that was animated by a lot of this rhetoric. There was a ramp up to it that was a lot longer. This is kind of a, almost like a pop riot if they do it.
Right.
It's a pop up sort of scene.
There were a lot of things that led to the riots in LA, right? It wasn't just a
Weird, sneaking yellow fog.
So far, it was the New York Young Republican Club that announced plans for a protest at an undisclosed location in Manhattan today.
Torrential rain.
I don't know if it's the New York Young Republican Club is.
They used to be clad in ties and blazers, the Young Republican Club. Right? Now I think of the Young Republican Club, they got the magnets and they're ready.
But there's actually a geological explanation
Crazy
for
how
such
much the
bizarre
party has
sequence of
changed.
events.
And it's the party.
That's a great point. I think I also
GNC
feel as though
Greece.
the
The island is
society
there.
changed so that the loudest voices get the most attention and it works. In other words, they scream.
Right?
In the old days, people kind of, they just counted if you scream too much. Now you can scream all the time and people pay attention all the time.
Wild times. All right, coming up next, we will go to Washington to find out what the president wants when it comes to proper penalties on language sensitive. We come back, Mark Thompson, and today, KFI and 640, live everywhere on that Heart Radio app, and Jennifer Stephanie. A manufacturer's recalling some baby formula. This is the Gerber Good Start 2 Pro powdered formula, and it's coming off the shelves out of an abundance of caution. Now, the recall applies to various size containers sold across the U.S. with a use-by date between July 4th and 16th of next year. The New York Jets are not going to rush to Aaron Rodgers' trade, according to ESPN. They're feeling the Jets are confident they can stay a little patient, and this will sort itself out. And today is the first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. Officially, we say goodbye to winter at 2:24 Pacific time. South of the equator, though, it is the first day of fall. We'll get a look at your drive on the 101 in SoCal weather from KFI. Looks like we've got a gray day ahead with showers off and on today. Highs are going to be in the 50s. Then it looks like it's really the heaviest of the storm is going to start tonight and take us all the way through Wednesday. Snow levels by Wednesday could drop to 3,000 feet. We do have a high wind warning in effect for all of Southern California tomorrow. This report is brought to you by GiveMeTheBing.com. Let's get a look at your drive with KFI in the sky in the 101.
Little freeway in Terminal northbound, right before 405 crash, blocking the two right lanes. There's traffic slowed back to Coldwater.
Had noticed, however,
So then a crash
all
in
impossible.
105 freeway from Crenshaw Boulevard on the right shoulder of the
Ground.
This report is sponsored by WaterHeaterOnly.com. Cooking hot at 3 a.m. when your water heater is leaking? Water Heaters Only. That's true. Or visit WaterHeatersOnly.com for any local 5-star review service. People love pricing. That's WaterHeatersOnly.com. WaterHeatersOnly.com.
I.
Attorney Marketing Services
Dare
help
to
small business
take
print bills.
rebellious
Now get $50 off signs, banners, and
many
posters when you
crimes
spend $75 or more.
Evidence
Operates for
given the charge to
Visit
destroy it.
staples.com/printix for details.
Now
This is
equal
your
to
time to try
you are
Staples,
saying
where your prints are
our
perfect,
prince is not
guaranteed.
compassionate
Give me
to
the
us,
sin.com.
but is calling us away from our husbandry and attack.
Let's get them bought.
I haven't
Now is the
indeed
time
heard
to
these
get them.
words here. But the sovereign shot guilty. As I fear God, I dare not but punish her.
Have you heard there's a new way
Now you are saying,
throat pain
what are the crimes of shots
drugs
on
or
a straight exercises suppression of the six shot?
We've got
This
clinics in
multitude are
Glendale,
become
Orange,
entirely
and Mission
indifferent to
Viejo
his
with more on the
service,
way.
and we feel no vulnerability. They are saying, when wilt thou, O Son, expire? We will all perish with thee. Such is the force of the sovereign shot. And now I must
Patients
go.
are raving about this all over the country.
Assist,
Pro-athletes
I
have been
pray
doing this for years, but now it's
one
available to
man,
anyone.
to carry out the punishment appointed by heaven. I will greatly reward you. On no account
If you've got pain from arthritis or injury, don't think steroids
But
and
if you do
surgery
not
are
obey
the
the
only
words
option.
which I have thus spoken to you, then put your children to death.
QC Genetics now in Glendale, Orange, and Mission Viejo. Call for a free consultation.
The next morning, the two
213-997-PAIN,
armies faced one another in the city of
PAIN.
Lord Trump stirring speech and implicit threat have done their job. The army of Shaw howled for the blood of the despised Emperor Yang, and having fought so long to this point, since the Emperor himself attempted to command his own forces, with success. He has generals who love their leader almost as much as they stand to post them, and they all with his orders. Moreover, the size of the Shang post is staggering. Number perhaps 6,000 infantry. The Shah already hailed the garrison, the Shah already
Well, one day you get an incident like water damage and a broken pipe,
the call to
toilet
charge sounded.
overflow. What a
The
nightmare.
Shah surged forward with the arms even then. The Shah had begun to grow. The entire portion quickly broke up.
Yeah, this is the time to call Abner Dad.
As to the
Abner Dad was got
he realized
he will go to battle. He's a
that he
public
was facing
insurance
the same
adjuster who is on your side.
outnumbered and abandoned. The rest of the Shah army was
Billy,
Kiev Shah fled southeast and made it as far as it could before seeking shelter as fast as possible. But Lord Kong,
Abner
knowing
and
what
his
had
team
happened
have been
last
dealing
time,
with insurance companies for many years. This is all they do. They've got the experience and the industry know how you need on your side.
and captured Lord Kong then pursued and eliminated any remaining Shah elements that had not surrendered.
Give Abner a call at 818-917-5256, 818-917-5256, or visit abnerdad.com.
Worn down as it was from years of conflict, Shah was in no position to resist.
Pray.com's meditative fluid contact is the best way to bring God
They dragged him before his conqueror, Kong of
It's
Shah.
not that it's good. Helps you
In
focus
his
on God,
surprising move,
fight
he
anxiety,
did not have Tia executed.
and more.
Instead, he found him guilty of crimes against the people, stripped him of title, and banished him from the Tia was carted off to the south, unceremoniously dumped
On the
on
outside
town.
of your house, or wherever you get your home.
He lived out the rest of his days, outcast from the foreign land, before the significant buildings, 1675. The House of Shah. Next time, the Shah triumphed, victorious in China's first Industrial Revolution. The House of Shah celebrated its first 30 years. It will also be the first in its succession.
KFIN 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Mark Thompson hanging out with me today. Coming up next, we will get into the Xi-Putin meeting.
Want to know a great way to support this podcast? Take their short listener survey at surveymonkey.com/r, as in the letter R/airwave. Tell them about yourself, your interests, and what you like or don't like about the show. Your feedback will help them improve the show, better meet the needs of listeners like you, and find you advertisers that actually interest you. You can even win a $500 Amazon gift card as our thank you. Visit surveymonkey.com/r/airwave. That's surveymonkey.com/r/airwave.
Fox Rebellion he said, knowing Noah's interest in rebels, sold his father's friend, brothers of each, how much his fight 19,
Number one,
absolute
they want to make it
explosion
easier
in the market
to
of
draw
horror
these
movie
executives
cases.
from working in the industry
For
or,
almost 5
movies and
years,
everything from their
dealers and
perspective.
collectors of these
And the
fragments
two, what the
were largely
FBI
able
seems
to
to be
conceal
able
the
to
source
force
of
on
their
a
clones,
conversation,
even going
cases
so
that
far
would trigger
as to
sales
provide
in the
false
case of
leads to
management or
investigators.
excessive risk taking, and that
But in
would
1908,
include some stock
massive
sales as
cache of
well.
gold relics
And at the
was
same, there was
uncovered
this lower the
outside the
threshold
city of
for
Young,
regulators to
Vermont.
impose fines.
His
You know,
discoverer
one of the
quickly realized
executives
that
at
he had
that
stumbled upon the
SVB,
site
which
of the last of
kind of
Sean
started this off, I guess it always depends on where you start the timeline. But anyway, one of those executives is actually
due to the
pretty
critical
high profile
turmoil of the period,
308
meaning the first
banking
3
crisis.
years
Isn't
of
that
the
right?
imperial system. Well,
Right, and that's also
and then
why
the
the White
subsequent
House has now
fragmentation
highlighted
of the nation,
reports that Silicon
Lord
Valley
States,
Bank CEO
16,
Gregory Becker
and
sold
followed
$3
by its
million
eventual
worth of shares
reunification
of the
with the
bank in the
public
days before the
in the 80s.
collapse, which is something that
And
the
with very
federal
little
government will be looking
organic
into likely,
resources,
and that
government
experts and
could
sources to
invest
ABC
to
News,
recover
they
this
say that there are
incredible
investigations
discovery.
going on right now in the
This
Justice
state of
Department
limbo
into
lasts for
SVB
30
stuff
years.
this time around, and they believe
Meanwhile,
it might center around
private
how
and black
Becker
markets
may
ensured that
have been
unauthorized
including
digs and,
in this
let's call a spade a
conversation
spade,
about what
tomb
he was
plundering
doing in the days
poured
and
through the
weeks
sites
leading up
and the
to
surrounding
the
areas,
collapse last Friday.
laying bare and
The
destroying
White House said
many
that the
major
president believes
locations.
what you're saying. The president believes that it's
Despite the
irresponsible
Chinese
for the
government's
failure of
delayed
one bank
reaction,
and should not be
they
able to
finally got
turn
around to
around and lead
authorizing the
another. But
Academia Sinica
how does the
an
government
official
have any
dig of the
power
site
over
in
that kind of
1928.
a thing?
They
To
were
say
still
that
able to
somebody is
recover
done forever in the banking
14,000
industry. You screwed it
murdered
up once,
pieces.
you're out.
In later days,
Yeah,
it
that'd be
turned up
helpful,
more than
right?
5
But he's
times
actually
that
trying to
number.
propose these pieces of legislation to
Now, as
Congress,
I
so
mentioned,
Congress will have
these
the
were not
ability
actually
to take a
dragging bones,
closer look at these bank
but these
executives.
specific ones
Ultimately, if
were
that
not
were to
fossils
happen, if
either.
these bank executives were to be
Instead,
involved
the
in this
Sean
management,
organoids come
then
from
that would
2
be a part
main
of these
sources.
wider investigations,
First
right?
is
And
the
so if that's
scapula,
declared,
or
then
shoulder
Congress
blade
would be
of
able
oxen.
to bar them from moving
Second
on to other
is
banks, working
turtle
at other
plastrons,
places in
their
the
belly
industry.
shells.
But, the big question here is
And
whether
these
or not
2
that's going to
particular
pass,
parts
because the
are so
House,
popular for this
controlled by
purpose for
Republicans,
the simple
the
reason that they
Senate,
provided
controlled by
large,
Democrats, and any
relatively flat
legislation on the
surface of
financial
bone
sector,
on each
the
right.
passes are not major relief for sure.
So
They may
important,
be
these
sincere about this.
particular
I mean,
bones
I
and
guess
shells
you
to Sean royalty,
feel as though they have to
that
be
they would
sincere about
often
it,
be
but by the same
considered
token, for just the reasons you
tribute
mentioned,
tax from
which is
massive
you really
states.
can't get any new legislation on the books,
Some pieces
it's
have been marked
likely
as such.
a bunch of,
One
and you
particular
could say
example
cynically, it's virtue
application
signaling of some kind. I mean, you
today
can embed
sent
with the bankers, you roll
250
back
turtle
these
shells,
restrictions and regulations on banking, and now you're up
likely
in
to
arms
create
about
minor
this.
state
On some level, I would just suggest it's a bit disingenuous.
So
Right, so the
why
White
are
House
these
has said
bones so
multiple times
terribly
they're looking
important to the
into
Sean
this situation.
that they
They have said that
painstakingly
they,
etch
at this point, have the depositors as a
The answer to
priority
that
rather than
is
the
that the
investors
oracles
or the bank
all
itself.
record
And they
attempts
say
to
that this is
provide
not a
knowledge
bailout,
of
that
the
this
future,
is something that
a form of
will not
divination
happen,
known as
and we've
pyromancy.
seen happen in 2008. So they say that this is a very different situation, that President Biden
In a
is
highly
handling this very
ritualized ceremony,
separately. But, as
bone
you said,
pieces
the
were
moderate
stored
Democrats
in
and
several
Republicans
pits
are
of
standing
regular
by
practice.
decisions in the past to roll
Then
back
the bone was
regulations,
anointed in
saying that,
animal blood,
this needs to be
and
further
divination
investigated.
began.
What happened to SUV extinguishers needs
The
to be further
practitioner in charge
investigated as
would
to
etch an
how they
inquiry
might
into
move
the bone.
forward. What type of
This
regulations
preface
may
would typically
actually
give the
lead to
day
all of
in
these
Europe,
things.
according to the
And that's a
stems and branches
conversation that
system
will be
of
very
time
difficult to have,
used in ancient
especially
China.
in this
And as a quick aside, this
Talking about
60-month
selfie
cycle
theater
with
sometimes
stems and
when it
branches
comes
dating
to,
system
well, it's like
can still be
Japanese
found
thing
in
or
part
the state of
in the
California
Chinese
thing.
zodiac
Back in
their
COVID
calendar
that we could
today.
only play catch with a miniature American football.
The
And
body of
why
action
would that be
give
less
the question
safe than a regulation
vast
football?
majority
It's called
of
a
our
safety
bones
theater. Like
require
the
relatively
9/11 rules of taking your shoes off and all these things at the airport. This just seems to be a little bit of, I do
fortunes of
mention
royal
our
families,
banking
military
safety theater.
outcomes.
But we will see.
Most
And
of
win. Thank you so much.
whether or
Appreciate
not
your time.
certain ritual
Thanks
practices
so much.
will be
Pretty
performed
wild.
to spirit's
I
satisfaction.
wonder what
This
Cash is
episode is
doing
brought
right
to you
now.
by Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurance.
Cash the cat.
Everything is
Like when
affordable.
you're listening to M and Visual Minds like trail off
little bit and then with
Coverage from
with
Blake
cash
starting
up
at
to it.
It's too often to what Aaron's saying. You're doing. I'm just speaking. I'm not really too worried about what the cat's doing. I'm guessing it's a good job typically with cats during the day they're sleeping. They log some pretty good naps.
They could be playing with something right now.
Yeah, sure, you're right. But again, I don't really.
Could have caught a mouse.
This is good that we don't have kids because this is the kind of. I expect kids to be preoccupied.
You have cameras in your home?
Yes,
Oh, so you can pull it up right now.
absolutely.
You could watch what cat is up to.
That's the pathetic thing.
Are you talking right now over there?
Like hot dog.
I just told you, it doesn't really, I'm not focused on it. But I did say, it's pathetic that when I'm on vacation with working, I will spend a full 10 minutes calling up the cameras to make sure the cats are okay, and I'll go back over the timeline and make sure that, you know.
So you have somebody that comes in and takes care of it.
Yeah, but it's hard to find a good cat sitter, so going out there.
What happens when you realize they're a bad cat sitter?
I've never really had bad cat sitter. It's just hard to find people who are, who can do it more than once a day. Like I let them check in a couple of times a day with the cats.
How many times ideally would you like them to check in?
A little better. Gotta get their line. Thank you very much.
Cat lovers to me are just really good people.
Oh, thank you.
It takes a real special, good-hearted person to open up to those evil little terrorists.
I think that there's something else going here. Well done.
All right, China and Russia are putting on their own theater display today. They call each other dear friends, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin.
The enemy of my enemy, right? Is my friend. I think there's some of
I
that.
was searching for that line last week when we were talking about this.
When it came to
All
the
right,
fifth
Gary
day,
and Shannon will continue Mark Thompson in today,
really was
and
the
this
coming
is
of
the news.
news
A
from
clip
West.
from Connecticut, including a 16-year-old driver has been killed in a fiery crash in New York. Only a 9-year-old survived. Authorities in Scarsdale say the kids were on a parkway early yesterday when their car crashed into a tree and caught fire. The youngest person killed was 8. The oldest was 17. A man fallen off the 6th Street Bridge near downtown LA.
He straight into the LA River. Fire crews were sent just before 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to fish the guy out. Fire officials say the man reportedly was seen climbing the bridge before going into about 2 feet of water. Due to severe wet winter conditions in the Southland, the river's water current sent the man nearly a mile downstream, eventually passing under the town on the freeway. At that point, the man was able to fight his way out of the flow right before he got to the Olympic Bridge. The man waited on the bank until fire crews could arrive to assess and treat him. He was taken to a trauma center. Andrew Carabella, KFI News.
A fight between 2 women has led to a shooting in Moreno Valley. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department says the women were in a shopping center parking lot yesterday when a third woman started shooting. No one was hit. Everybody took off. The alleged shooter was stopped and arrested a short time later. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he does not think people should protest if former President Trump is arrested on charges from the Manhattan DA's office. President Trump posted on social media over the weekend predicting he would be arrested this week and calling on supporters to protest. Aaron Paterski says the case in New York centers on money paid to porn actress Stormy Daniels, as told by Trump's lawyer Michael Cohen.
Cohen was testified before the grand jury.
The ritual was complete. Answers for me. Prophetic bone.
Was to protect the 2016 campaign, so the $150,000 amounted to an illegal campaign contribution by Trump himself.
The DA in Manhattan has not commented on possible indictments, except to say his office will not be intimidated by Trump's call to protest. Lawmakers in France have filed 2 no-confidence motions against the country's president for using constitutional powers to force through a bill that would raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. ABC's Inez de la Cutera says over the weekend, people protesting fires across the country slashed the cops. A large number of French gas stations are also partially or completely out of fuel. Protesters continue to block fuel deliveries. France's Senate approved the retirement plan last week. And an Israeli minister says there is no such thing as a Palestinian people. An Israeli and Palestinian delegation met in Egypt yesterday, pledging to take steps to lower tensions in the region. But in France, Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich says there's no Palestinian history, nation, or language. His comments come as Israel's far-right government said it was pushing a key part of its overhaul before the parliament takes a month-long holiday break next week. Here's SoCal weather from KFI. Off and on showers today. Heavy rain's going to start later tonight. Tomorrow and Wednesday, that heavy rain's going to keep coming. Tomorrow we have a high wind advisory for all of Southern California until 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And by Wednesday, our snow levels could be as low as 3,000 feet. For the rest of us, those temperatures for the next few days should just be in the low to mid-50s. 52 right now in Rancho Santa Margarita, 55 in Garden Grove. Let's get a look.
Cerrito says you head east down there at Norwalk Boulevard. Crash blocks the right lane here. We hit the brakes right around the 605. East Sherman Oaks, we still have that one on the 101 northbound before the 405. It's an accident blocking the 2 right lanes with slowing starting at Laurel Canyon. Hawthorne crashed there on the 105 eastbound Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to do easy steps. You can open an account, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in the vault or shipped to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth. Like portfolio doesn't just have stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. Legacy Precious Metals' new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver no matter how small or large with just a few clicks. And it's free to sign up. Create your account online at buylegacygold.com. Buylegacygold.com. Or talk to Legacy Precious Metals directly by calling 866-691-2173. At Jacoby Myers, our 5-star reviews attest to our commitment to excellence and a success in delivering life-changing results for our clients. 50-plus years of experience, $1 billion in settlements, and voted number 1 for 4 years in a row. Our team's expertise is unmatched. Call Jacoby Myers. Justice for you since 1972. Americans pay about $5 billion a year to control termites and repair the damage. More than floods, earthquakes, hurricanes combined. Call Pacific Coast Termite at 800 Pacific for a free home inspection. Certain restrictions apply. No tanking ever. Call 800 Pacific. 800 Pacific. Visit PacificCoastTermite.com. Call 800 Pacific.
Pacific Coast Termite. Kill termites.
Clean, friendly way.
Need high-quality windows and doors for your home? Marvin Wheeler is a trusted partner from the beginning to the end of every project, and can help you find the right ones and doors for your space. Make space for the little things, the big things, and things you never expected. Make space for connection and celebration, for personality and possibility. Make space for beauty, for better living, and a quality that endures. Find a place for Marvin windows and doors in your home, and you can make space for what matters. Marvin Dealers is here to help with your Marvin window and door project. They make it easy to find quality Marvin windows and doors that fit your needs. Visit replacementmadeeasy.com today to set up your free consultation. That's replacementmadeeasy.com.
You only have to wait till 14th to lock in the best rates on solar with today at sunlust.com. KFR AM 640.
And I have radio stations.
For more stimulating talk.
Jerry and Kevin, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Next, we will dig into this 85-year Harvard study. Did you go to Harvard? I forgot you went somewhere prestigious.
On a tour, I went on. Yeah, I barely had the grades to get on a tour of Harvard.
You went somewhere prestigious.
Well, I like to drag it around. I went to Colgate University, which is a small school in upstate, and I attended Oxford big time.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So we will dig into this study that finds that. I get excited because I went to Chico State, all right? It's not often that I have friends that are fancy hanging out with me.
Look, I was drunk most of the time, so that was what makes it feel like
But this study dug into what job tends to be the most unhappy job. And there's something that unhappy jobs have in common, so we'll get into that. Did you see the latest Alex Murdaugh news?
Oh.
Alex Murdaugh, of course, found guilty, convicted of killing his younger son and his wife. His surviving son, Buster, today is denying, this is rumors in his words, that he was involved in the death of a gay former classmate he was linked to romantically. This was the kid that turned up dead on the side of the road. They said at the time, in 2015, the signs that maybe it was killed, he was killed somewhere and dumped there along the side of the road. Short distance from the Murdaugh home.
they can pick up signs of that by exhuming the body now. That's wild.
Yeah,
They think that they're physical signs of the body being moved now
right.
when we exhume the body.
Well, remember, too, this was a family that was, the girl who was killed in the boat crash, that went away. The housekeeper that died in the fall of the house, that went away. They knew so many people in law enforcement all the way up to the bench it's like, now we are best friends and you're not invited. You know, it's almost this kind of friendship theater here.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is a part of this that's being played out, just as you say, for the theatrics, for the world, you know. But this is again, against the backdrop also what's going on in Ukraine. Let's not forget that this is a much more complicated situation than Putin clearly thought it would be originally, right? When the Ukraine invasion happened, even we in the West thought, this is based on media reports and based on reports sort of from the feed, Russia would be able to have their way with Ukraine.
Look for Russia.
Right.
When you think about the strength of Ukraine up against something like Russia, you would think that it would be no problem. But the other problem with Russia is their soldiers don't want to fight. They don't understand why they're fighting either. They see that Putin's building an anti-Western world. And he's looking for allies, trying to make Russia part of a common fortress with China as well as India, parts of Latin America and Africa. An anti-Western world. And of course, the major country that they would be leaning on for this is China.
Look, we're China's best customer. China doesn't want to, from an economic standpoint, things to get too frosty with us. But by the same token, as I say, I think there probably is an alignment of goals between Russia and us. Putin has isolated himself. Now he's a wanted man. Having been, is it at The Hague? Is it he was indicted essentially?
International Criminal Council, something of that nature. Like they don't even recognize the jurisdiction there.
Right. And we're not part of that either, by the way. When that all first happened, we carved ourselves out of that because we didn't want to be brought in on any kind of war crime charges, etc. But more to the point, in an isolated environment, it would seem to me that Putin finds himself in, she might actually be something of a small lifeboat, even if it is just theatrics, as you say, Shannon.
I feel like we just don't know enough about Xi Jinping to really know what his long game is in Ukraine, but Beijing denies it. So it's China's secret. I kind of feel like we have been helping out Ukraine more than we advertise, and China's been helping out Russia more than it advertises, just to go back to the point of the economic agreement between us and China.
And China is, remember, they're just getting off that deal that they brokered in the Middle East, Iran and Saudi Arabia. That was a deal brokered by China. So he could do this. I mean, try this on for size. He could go and try to concoct some kind of face-saving compromise for Putin to get out of this thing. But now with China involved, I mean, that would be a huge, huge get. Now, that may be a bridge too far right now, but it's possible that instead of just saying, I'm all about Team Black, that the reality is she may try to do something to try to essentially pave the way for Russia to get out of Ukraine or out of the situation being a hot war the way it is now.
Yeah, I just don't see Vladimir Putin acquiescing to that just because he has testicle problems.
No, he has too much in it. You're right. Yeah.
Thank you for not batting my eye with testicle problems. I appreciate that.
I'm expecting so much work. I didn't move the meter.
Coming up next, this 85-year Harvard study about this type of job being the unhappiest. Also, wild weekend. I found myself screaming at the television on Friday over a school I didn't even know existed.
That is March Madness in a nutshell.
Furthermore, did you hear that call at the end of that game?
That good soccer game?
The SDU game.
Oh, yeah.
SDU, believe it? I'm like, dude, if you had a solid hour to come on with the 16 seed to the 1 seed, and that's what you landed on?
That was loaded. You're right. That was a back pocket.
Oh, my goodness. Barry and Shannon will continue. Mark Thompson in today, and Jennifer's afternoon. The West Coast and South are both in for some winter weather this week. California is expected to get hit by our 12th atmospheric river, producing heavy rain and snow. Former President Trump accusing President Biden of trying to influence the Manhattan DA's office in the Stormy Daniels hush money payment case. And rapper Snoop Dogg is launching a new coffee line. The hip-hop entrepreneur has put out a press release They partnered with an Indonesian coffee maker to put out a new coffee line called a premium lifestyle coffee brand created for and inspired by the next generation. Weather from KFI showers today, heavy rain starting tonight. Tomorrow we've got a high wind watch along with those heavy showers. The showers are lasting into Wednesday with snow levels dropping to as low as 3,000 feet. Temperatures for the rest of us just stay low to mid-50s. This report is brought to you by the Catalina, that is, Island Company. Let's check your drive this time on the 91.
This is the area. Eastbound Norwalk Boulevard is a branch of the right lane strap down, and that's for you. I can feel your drive on the eastbound 91. Looks like you're seeing not too bad of a drive, actually, as you're making your way beyond the 605 and Norwalk Boulevard, where it is going to be 50. It's further eastbound on the 91. Getting out of the Rapalm and Park area, leaving Orangeburg and Cerritos. It'll be still going for you all the way toward the 57 and beyond the 55. You're westbound 91. That's still going through your drive right now. As you're coming away from the big Green River, coming out of the same day. Came, passing the 241 Kohler, and seeing those delays as you make your way all the way back toward the 5. KFI and the sky helps get there faster. I'm Nick Collins. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
Hey, it's Jennifer. Join us this March to Make March Matter for Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Make March Matter makes amazing things happen for sick kids. It's a month-long event that takes place right in your neighborhood. So every time you shop, dine, or attend an event at a participating partner, they'll donate funds to support Children's Hospital Los Angeles. It feels so good to give, and saving lives is everyone's business. For more information, visit MakeMarchMatter.org. That's MakeMarchMatter.org.
Ditch the mainland, catch the ferry, and sail to Catalina Island where adventure awaits you. Whether it's an exhilarating flight on the zipline eco tour, the chance to spot a bison on the bison expedition, or cocktails at Wisconsin Beach Club, there's something for everyone. Plan today at visitCatalinaIsland.com.
This week's Marketers Report treats you as Fabiola, Global Chief Marketing Officer, Direct to Consumer for Warner Brothers Discovery, brings in the difficult task of building and retaining consumer trust. Trust is a really hard thing to build and a really easy thing to destroy, and we have to be very respectful about that. Our partnership with iHeart has really helped us build that trust and that relationship with the on-air talent. The best thing for us to do is to build a relationship with our consumers. And if those consumers have a relationship with the DJs that are on air, then we want to build on that. House of the Dragon, which is one of our most successful, if not the most successful campaign we've ever done for a show, audio is a core part of that. It's the #1 audio company. iHeartMedia gives marketers access to more. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
Looking to invest in real estate as a way to diversify, hedge against inflation, and receive consistent quarterly cash distribution? With First National Realty Partners, you'll get access to commercial real estate investments that are reserved only for elite private institutions. You'll have tax write-offs, limited liability structures, quarterly cash distributions, and the potential for upside and exit. First National Realty Partners has thousands of investors who collect rent from national brand tenants like Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, Publix, and many more. Call 888-301-9010. That's 888-301-9010. Or go to FNRPradio.com. That's FNRPRadio.com. Choose your fully passive commercial real estate investment deal. Securities are only available to verified accredited investors. Investments are subject to risk, including loss of principal. Cash distributions are not guaranteed. Any representation made about investment stability reflects FNRP's strategy and may or may not be realized. Visit FNRPradio.com.
Hey, all the Steve Sharp. Are you running out of hot water? Water Heaters Only has been specializing in the repair and replacement of water heaters since 1968. That's over 54 years as the original water heater specialist. So visit waterheatersonly.com for zero-interest financing. Terms and conditions apply. Request quick service or call to speak with a live operator 24 hours a day. Don't wait. Don't overpay. Visit waterheatersonly.com today. That's waterheatersonly.com.
Join us to celebrate the songs and artists you've loved over the past year.
At our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Hosted by Lenny Kravitz.
With individual award recipient Taylor Swift.
And performances by iHeart Icon Award recipient Coldplay, Kelly Clarkson, LL Cool J, Keith Urban, Pat Benatar, Geraldo, Lotto, Money Long, Cody Johnson, and more.
Watch on Fox and listen on iHeartRadio.
Next Monday night at 8 p.m.
I like when TV anchors who are earning $600,000 a year say stuff like this. Could go up by $8 a month. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. How long do you get? I get some ton of money. I don't know me about what the bill is. $70,000 a year. Let's go to the Junior Show. $8 man. That's a lot of fun money. Live 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Radio app. Some stories we are keeping our eyes on for you today. Police in New York City making security preparations ahead of a possible arrest of former President Trump. He posted on his Truth Social platform over the weekend that he expects to be arrested tomorrow. There's been no confirmation of that claim from the Manhattan DA's office, and to be honest, even if they were planning on arresting him tomorrow, they're not going to arrest him tomorrow because they don't want to make it look like he had an inside track there.
It's going to be the best arrest ever.
The biggest, the best. Big water.
There's never been anything like this.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is accusing the DA of ignoring crimes that are happening under his watch and going after something that happened years ago, calling the investigation political in nature. Found that to be kind of odd for Ron DeSantis to come out with something that puts him in the former president's corner. Those two have kind of been at each other's throats in recent appearances. Of course, Trump was being investigated for paying off adult film actress Stormy Daniels back in 2016 and then lying about it on financial paperwork.
Yeah, you got it. When you pay them off, you just got to own it. You know, don't lie about it on the paperwork.
When you've done this,
that's what I took away from this. That in the future, if I pay off
a lady of the screen.
Yes, they just don't lie about it.
It may be the first day of spring, but it still feels like winter out there, Mark Thompson.
Yeah, I guess it's a major storm system that's going to move in. Late tonight the real heavier rain will be late tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Right?
It's the 12th atmospheric river.
Yeah.
Too many rivers.
Yeah, it's way too many atmospheric rivers. Yeah.
Where do you come down on the atmospheric river for rain,
right.
Bomb cyclone,
right.
All of that fear-mongering weather-wise?
Well, you're right to point this out. That's something that has been talked about forever, which is no, it's not. And that's the problem. It's every time there's rain, people go, well, another atmospheric river. No, it's not.
Okay.
The atmospheric river refers to that pineapple, we used to call it the Pineapple Connection or Pineapple Express. It's the southwesterly flow of the tap for Hawaii, and that's a much different thing than just a normal weather system that moves through it. So these atmospheric rivers, if you want to call it that, kind of like the rebranding because it does sort of speak to what it is, which is this sort of river of moisture. But what I don't like is kind of what's happened, which is, it's another atmospheric river. It will start to late. No, this is just a rain system that's moving through. Now, this one, I guess, is capping subtropical moisture, so this is legit an atmospheric river that's moving in. But you're right, Shannon. Everything has to be amped up these days to get social media clicks. Mm-hmm. So it's a bomb cyclone, it's an atmospheric river. You have to name these storms. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. The Weather Channel names these winter storms. It's Winter Storm Ralph is moving into New Hampshire tonight. It's absurd.
Nothing is ever going to get the attention that a dancing weatherman got.
Thank you, Shannon.
That's where I come down.
Yes. They should have closed the whole thing down when I got off the
That's right.
Fox 11.
That's right. You want attention, you shake that bottom.
Yes. Anyway, this rain is associated with atmospheric river and it'll move in, I think, in a big way. I'm just looking at reports. It isn't late tonight. Isn't that when the heavier rain starts? Yeah.
What happened to why Pineapple Express discarded?
I don't know. I kind of liked it. I thought also it was kind of cute and did represent, and also you weren't going to get what's happening now, which is you wouldn't have it confused with every rain event being a Pineapple Express.
Right.
Yeah. Now it is every rain event's an amateur. So I like the rebranding, but I think
still doing the research that's going on.
Having the research over to you.
One of the longest Robert Waldinger, MD, professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, says that the loneliest jobs are the unhappiest, that jobs that require little human interaction and don't offer opportunities to build meaningful relationships with coworkers tend to have the most miserable employees. Since 1938, Harvard researchers have gathered health records for more than about 700 participants from all over the world, asked them detailed questions about their lives every 2 years. And they concluded that the secret to living a happier, healthier, and longer life is not money, professional success, exercise, or a healthy diet, but that positive relationships are what keeps people happy throughout their lives. And Carrie and I spent time on this when it comes to work from home, and we're proponents of working at work. But that there are a lot of people who say working from home works for them. They love it. And I kind of kept going back to, you think you love it, but how good is it for you to be isolated like that and not have those face-to-face working relationships?
You're so right. We're social animals. And so this study, in a way, reinforces that. Look, I do a YouTube show now, and I do it from my house. So I don't have to leave the house for days at a time because I do everything, and all the information now comes in there, and I can do the show from the house. But when I come into KFI, I find it's an interesting thing. I don't focus on it, but I notice, wow, dude, it's cool. It's not just Courtney, and it's not just the cats. You've got an actual dynamic of socialization, frankly, and that's what this study is saying. You need that. Generally, you're happier when you get those engagements with other people, regardless of it, even if they're superficial engagements.
And it's funny how we were just talking about this last week too, about why it feels so good when somebody cancels plans and they're like, I can stay home, I can stay by myself, but that's not good for you. You think it's what you want, but it's not really the best thing for you.
No, it's true. And so what this study is saying is that these days there are these emerging economies, robust economies in the tech sector, and those are generally, those industries, lonelier. Those are generally lacking a lot of interpersonal connection. That's what the study is pointing to. So that even as the study says the socialization is good for your health, it'll make you happier, it's also saying, but in a huge part of the American economy and the world economy, there's more isolation than ever before.
I think something goes into it too when it comes to liking who you work with. The 2022 report from Gallup shows people who have a best friend at work are more productive and engaged with their work than those who don't. I mean, what if you're working in a bunch of a-holes?
That's true.
That wouldn't make you happy.
If you're being bullied at work, that does happen.
But there you have it. Don't be lonely. Get out there. Socialize.
It's nice that they wrapped up that 85-year Harvard study, though.
What took so long?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, I mean, is
Dr.
it because we
Walden.
don't have a cure for cancer? Because they're
right.
spending 85 years at Harvard talking about happiness? Well, we could have told you that.
Yeah. Well,
Why don't they come to us?
yeah. Well, we got to get research money somewhere. So
That's true.
all the cancer research money was taken.
All right, coming up next, scary times for this meteorologist who collapsed live on air. It's always so weird when something happens to a television personality live, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, stuff like this, too.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about it in her updated condition when we come back to Gary and Shannon.
It's springtime. The birds are chirping, the sun's a shining, and you are back in an office building with windows that don't open. So,
KFI.
KOST HD2,
Los Angeles, Orange County.
live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
May take some time. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Financial help could take a while for the people in the San Bernardino Mountains trying to recover from the storm. Property owners who have damage first have to go through their insurance companies. The county's emergency operations director says government helps supplement insurance coverage, but it doesn't replace it. Now, so far, more than 626 homes and other buildings have been damaged or destroyed in the storms, and the department is still weeks away from completing its 12th atmospheric river, and I'll get you the forecast on what to expect for the next couple of days in just a second. Governor Newsom's working to have voters decide if they want to expand mental health services and treatment beds throughout the state. KFI's Blake Coley reports live the governor has rolled out a multi-billion-dollar bond measure.
The measure would raise between $3 billion to $5 billion proposal would also direct at least $1 billion from the existing Mental Health Services Act to house people with mental health and substance abuse issues. Housing would also be created for veterans. The ballot measure would go before voters in 2024 if approved by the legislature. Reporting live, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
California is now in the prescription drug business. Governor Newsom announced $50 million in a contract over the weekend to produce insulin under the state's own label.
This is a big deal.
Under the big deal, a 10-milliliter vial of insulin would cost $30. That's instead of the usual $300.
What this does is a game changer. This fundamentally lowers the cost, period, full stop.
Newsom says the state's also looking to produce its own brand of naloxone, which is used to counter insulin deal still needs to be approved by the FDA. School district says it's prepared for school closures as tens of thousands of workers go ahead with plans for a 3-day strike. The union says the walkout tomorrow through Thursday will be to protest the district's unfair practices. School Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says the district has been willing to negotiate.
We have right now 15% recurring increase to compensation for that employee group, in addition to 10% cash in hand.
The union has demanded a 30% pay raise, among other things. Police in LA say a man had crashed into 2 cars in South LA, leaving one person in critical condition was wanted for assault with a deadly weapon. The fire department had said the crash last night happened at the end of a police chase. Cops say they've been looking for the man before the crash. One person had to be freed from the wreckage by firefighters using hydraulic tools. At least 2 other people have minor injuries. An elementary school in Long Beach will remain closed for a few more days because of a norovirus outbreak. School district officials announced the outbreak at Carver Elementary last week. Norovirus is highly contagious. It causes vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, abdominal pain. City officials said more than 120 students and 10 staff members may have been affected. The school is expected to stay closed until Wednesday. A man and a 16-year-old boy have been fatally shot while at a pool at an apartment complex in Newhall. LA County Sheriff's investigators say a witness reported seeing the man reach over the pool fence late Saturday morning and fire shots before running toward the apartment complex parking lot. A few minutes later, deputies stopped a white car matching what witnesses described and detained 2 young men. And Russia's President Putin has visited the occupied port city of Mariupol in his first trip captured in a campaign of death, destruction, and displacement.
And on Saturday, Putin traveling to occupied Crimea, trying to show it's business as usual despite the arrest warrant.
The International Criminal Court issued a warrant for Putin's arrest Friday for war crimes. It says Putin is allegedly responsible for abducting children from Ukraine and sending them to Russia. Your KFI Financial Update is sponsored by Jacoby and Myers. The Dow is up 370, S&P is up 30, NASDAQ is up 10, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.85. Don't wait. Maximize your compensation after an accident. Call Jacoby and Myers now. Justice for you since 1972. So got weather from KFI. We've got showers off and on today, and then our heavy rain's going to start tonight, lasting into Wednesday. Tomorrow, in addition to the heavy rain, we have high wind advisory for all of Southern California. Temperatures tomorrow will be in the low to mid 50s. We're going to see our snow levels today at 5,000 feet, but by Wednesday, those should drop to about 3,000 feet. So areas like the San Bernardino Mountains are expecting up to 3 feet of snow from this 12th atmospheric river. It's 55 in Dana Point, 54 in Fullerton, Glendale, and in Santa Monica. Let's get a look at your drive better news through Sherman Oaks.
And particularly along the northbound side of the 101 before the 405, that's nearly right. It's been cleared from lanes. Still seeing a busy one for you on the northbound 101 as you come out of the Sherman Village and Studio City adjacent area. From before Coldwater, the southbound side of the 405, rather 101 off the 405, getting better for you as well. Van Nuys Boulevard 101 southbound as you make way into the Victoria Pass. Fort Barham is still going to be a little bit busy for you, but delays are definitely lightening up. And then for the southbound on the 101, it looks really good. We'll see some delays starting right around that way, continuing to go to 110. Northbound 101 out of downtown is still going through right now from 4th passing the 10 to San Bernardino Freeway and the 110 as you continue to go Vermont Avenue. Then an update is letting slowing down. Time to 50 yourself on keyword. It's safe by traffic 5 southbound as you head to the Brent Park area from before the 91 passing Anaheim and Disneyland. It'll be busy for you 2 Harbor Boulevard. Plenty of relief and heading in for you 5 southbound out of the Orange Crest to the 5 instead of 22 split as you head over 55 northbound side of the 5. Looking a pretty rough go for you through Irvine from before Culver to way back towards the Crest. Westbound side of the 91 coming out of the same day, turning to Dover, Linda, and Anaheim. first look at has been very beneficial for us to integrate some of our campaigns into the native content of iHeart. It has been a very nice partnership, and we continue to be very strong into the future.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, conversations, trusted influencers, insights, and data you need to grow. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong. I eat yogurt. Oh, I don't need to take a probiotic. Probiotics? They don't really work. It's time to learn the truth about probiotics and join the Align Healthy Gut team. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align probiotics for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel. Get $2 off your first month of Align at alignprobiotics.com.
Whether you're just starting your watch collection or expanding it, check out Bob's Watches for one of the largest and finest selection of pre-owned modern and vintage luxury watches. Rolex, Omega, Cartier, Tudor, buy, sell, or trade. You can count on their trust, honesty, and transparent pricing. Free overnight shipping, all watches independently certified for fitting. Get $200 off. Just Google Bob's Watches and Bill Handle and click the link to get your discount. Just Google Bob's Watches and Bill Handle and click the link to get your discount.
Radio station. It's always fun when I get my it's like, is it ricin? Is it anthrax? Let's roll the dice and just open it.
It's old school, man. Here comes the in all caps. That's usually the first problem. That's a red flag typically.
Yeah, all caps.
Yeah.
Open all caps.
I just had to, if somebody writes in to me and Robin Bertolucci, and I thought he wasn't CC'd on it, the guy, everything's in caps, and I finally got enough. This is after months. You'd think I would have, DX'd him a long time ago, but I finally today, and then he's listening, I can just tell him, you've been blocked.
What was the content?
It was, I hate this about it, every show down. I hate this about the show, I hate that about the show. About shows I'm not even on.
Right.
Okay, and then,
Why are you involved in this?
well, no, then he comes after me, because I am on with Conway, and I come in occasionally, and so he'll come after me too. So, I let it go for months, and then.
Did you say hurtful things or just?
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, always. But, yeah, I mean, sort of. You can put it in.
I'll send one to Robin right now. The meteorologist Alyssa Carlson is assuring viewers she is feeling okay after she fainted on live television. David, do you have that? The meteorologist? Anyway.
No. It sounded like somebody hitting the desk as they arrived.
So, just to paint the picture, the two anchors are throwing to her for her to do her weather report, and she kind of leans over the desk and then blinks down and kind of falls on the floor. And it is really scary. It's a scary moment. I mean, I'm remembering Serene Branson when she had her aneurysm on the air, and it's just terrifying to see something happen to these. I mean, it's irrelevant that they're beautiful young people, but it's just it's cool too. You're watching from home, and you don't know if she's died or if she's okay or what it is. We got the audio now.
Streaming on CBS Los Angeles, I'm Rachel Chen. And I'm Shabina in for Shiva, who is ready for the sunshine. I know I am. Let's start off with a check of the next one of meteorologist Alyssa Carlson. She joins us live in the studio. Alyssa, this really is the calm before the storm. No. Oh. We're going to go ahead and go to break right now.
So, one of the things that made
It's hard to get away from things like, I'm ready for some sunshine.
Yeah.
It's the calm before the storm.
That's what exactly what I was about to say. It's the upbeat nature. It's like the super over-the-top happy. That is what sets
News meteorologist Alyssa Carlson with that sort of weather forecast this morning where she fainted. Our team jumped in to help and comfort her while waiting for medical help to arrive. She thanks fans for their thoughts and prayers. She's resting, recovering. She's going to be all right. Apparently, she had health problems in the past. She had another incident on the air in 2014. Because of that heart issue from 2014 did not cause her most recent health scare.
So this is a different heart issue, in other words.
Or she just fainted.
No?
I used to faint when I get my blood drawn. But get all worked up,
Right.
scared of a needle or something, and then it happens, if your blood sugar drops or whatever, the adrenaline drops.
Wow.
But maybe she just fainted.
Well, she has indicated she's appreciative. And I mean, it's a lot easier to float thoughts and prayers knowing that she's fine. You know what I mean? She's clearly, this was just it seems like it was an incident. Boom, I'm back. Don't sweat it.
When can we rebrand thoughts and prayers?
It's been a while. I think it maybe,
It's had its run.
it's got a stink on it now. You're right.
The range for thoughts and prayers is wild.
It's right. Are you saying sarcastically thoughts and prayers?
Right.
You're saying legitimately thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, it's kind of taken on a live, laugh, love personality.
That's true. That's true.
I saw this article in the LA Times over the weekend, and I thought, what the hell is this? This is about disabled people killed by their family members. They have a disability day of mourning every March. I had no idea that this was as prevalent as it is. Terrifying. I'll tell you that when we come back. Gary and Shannon and Mark Thompson in today, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And security preparations ahead of a possible arrest of former President Trump. He posted on Truth Social over the weekend. He expects to be arrested tomorrow, but there has been no confirmation of that from the Manhattan DA's office. The body of a 19-year-old found dead in the middle of a road in South Carolina 8 years ago will be exhumed and re-examined. South Carolina state law enforcement agency says new evidence into the death came up while looking into the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, the wife and son of once prominent, now disbarred attorney Alex Murdaugh. And it looks like Shazam! Fury of the Gods did not exactly make movie magic at the box office in North America this weekend. It's a sequel to the 2019 superhero film. The first film made heavy rain tomorrow, wind advisory tomorrow for Southern California, and the snow level by Wednesday should drop to a low at 3,000 feet. Let's get a look at that drive on the 210.
Next week is the Claremont area. I'm going to be happening on the westbound side past baseline. You got to recognize the two-way lane shutdown. Now, that is already slow-going drive-through on the 210 westbound coming out of Altaloma and Rancho Cucamonga from as far back as Carnelian. Westbound 10 is also to the 210 westbound. Not looking all that much better for your drive right now. In fact, that's actually going to be busier. So maybe stick with the 210 because 10 westbound is going to be a rough work time on and about Indian Hill. KFI in the sky helps get there faster. I'm Nick Collier.
This report is sponsored by Vanguard University in Orange County. Earn your bachelor's, master's, or nursing degree in the class 12 consecutive years. At Vanguard, your story matters. Visit vanguard.edu to learn more.
Hey, it's Keen Sharp. Clean and healthy water is essential for living your best life. Light Source is the whole house water system that will change that life. Light Source gives you filtered and delicious water from every tap, filtering out the bad, keeping the good, no maintenance needed. And right now, new customers can get a free Apple-Pure antibacterial filter with qualifying purchase. That's an $825 value. So call Light 32696 or go to light.com. Light Source, faith and feel the difference. When you want the best deal on the best meal, choose Wendy's 2 for $6. Pick from Dave's Single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece crispy nuggets, or a medium strawberry lemonade. Pair any two for just $6. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. I'm Mark Cope, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I told you about how your nose is the body's air filter. Good Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. And then Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. It's amazing. For this one, I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are two of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage. The all-natural
What's better? And more.
As you close your eyes, ask God to come and have fellowship with you, and open yourself to the Holy Spirit, and ask Him to minister to you.
Listen to Meditative Prayer on the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you just focus it right again on the God's on keeping the bad people where they belong in a prison. Put people away in prison for long sentences. See what happens. What are we going to lose here? John and Ken. No intelligence at all. Genocide has a negative IQ. Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Someone gets excited for a show, and specifically, it makes it better because it's this show.
Yeah.
Victor came in and was talking about Milk Manor. You got on this Bachelor tangent,
I've never heard of MILF Matter,
and you got it. So
but
you're
I
sure
found a new favorite show. Now, the idea is that as I understand it, the MILF, the older women, are there and they like younger guys. And so they're there with the younger guys who they bring in. And the other wrinkle on this is that the younger guys who are hooking up with the MILFs are related to them.
it's all their sons.
Right. So it's
They're swapping sons,
it is
and they're all like 22.
How
And
is-
women are in their 50s.
how is this not the most popular show on television?
Because it makes you physically unwell.
Exactly.
I watched one episode and I felt sick to my stomach. Like I said
Well-
earlier, I mean, if this was my thing, if this is what I was into, if I'm in my 50s and I'm into 20-year-olds
Sure.
or whatever, I would never publicize it.
That's the thing. You have to, you have to cast the right people who are shameless this way.
They are shameless.
But they seem to have found them. So good on them.
So we will be giving you your homework, Mark. You're going to knock out a few episodes of this, and we'll
Please don't say nothing.
her, known as Coroner to the Stars here in LA County, died aged of 73. He was deputy LA County coroner, and he led some high-profile investigations. I remember going out there and interviewing him when I was a reporter out in the field years ago. But he investigated the deaths of several high-profile celebrities: Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Paul Walker, Tom Petty, Brittany Murphy. He retired back in 2019 after nearly 17 years as deputy coroner. The cause of his death is not clear. Another story we are keeping our eye on for you: President Biden looking to tweak the nation's immigration rules. It's not sitting well with Republicans. There's a move to allow some asylum seekers to stay in the U.S. while their court cases play out. Some Republicans say that would be a magnet which attracts more illegal immigrants to our borders because these take sometimes years to play out. So we'll see how far away those two sides are when they meet at the bargaining table. Saw this headline over the weekend, and I thought, what the hell? I did not know this was a thing. Disability Day of Mourning. Roughly a dozen people went into a church in Burbank at the beginning of March to mark Disability Day of Mourning. They heard the names of people killed by parents and other relatives or caregivers. They listened to poems, songs, readings about the outrage of disabled people losing their lives to those who were supposed to take care of them.
Boy, that's troubling, huh?
Yes. In the United States, people with disabilities are nearly 4 times as likely to be a victim of a violent crime as those without disabilities. And when they are victimized, people with disabilities are twice as likely as other people to suffer violence at the hands of a family member, including their parents.
Jeez. That's chilling.
The pastor, Lutheran pastor, they said, like many others in this chapel, has personal experience. He is an autistic man diagnosed in adulthood. He's also the father of autistic children. One who's diagnosed has set in motion his own path to understanding his daughters, led him to rethinking things in life and in the church.
That's
don't consider, it's weird, I have to say, I don't consider people on the autism spectrum disabled at all.
I don't either.
I
And
really
I feel
don't.
like
In fact,
it's much more common than you would
yeah,
think.
in fact, right, exactly. I mean, there are so many people who are on the autism spectrum somewhere. My nephew is autistic, and he's brilliant, and he's also super verbal. He could do a sports radio show right now. He could go down to KLAC, and there's nothing about him that, but I guess he's aware of certain things, you know what I mean? So I guess all I'm trying to say is there's a full range on that scale. So I'm surprised to hear that autism would be in any way included in the, I understand that on that scale you can also be in an extreme circumstance on that autism spectrum that leaves you that way, but I don't consider autism necessarily, just hearing the word, I don't consider it a disability.
I don't either. This apparently just was super chilling to use your words there. Inside this Burbank church, the names were read out on a reporting. The faces of each of the dead appeared briefly on the screen as their names were heard. A toddler sticking out their tongue, a white-haired woman, her surgical mask pulled down to show a smile, a young woman who seemed to be posing for a selfie. For some, there was only a white rectangle that said photo unavailable. For others, a photo of a tombstone. 10 minutes went by as the names were read.
And these are people who were killed because of their disabilities,
Right.
is what was being said.
Apparently, the excuse sometimes is that they are mercy killings. So that was what they wanted to highlight, that these are not mercy killings, that these are murders.
You know, sometimes the charge of taking care of someone with a disability is a burden, right?
Yeah.
And you hope that those, and generally it is the case, that those who take on that burden are committed to it. You know, it's a responsibility, like any. But then there are these cases where you have literally family members who are involved in, as you say, this sort of, quote, mercy killing, or who decide to deal with the responsibility by literally killing the person that they are responsible for.
It's heartbreaking in one hand because of these people being murdered. On the other hand, it's heartbreaking that these were not natural-born killers, that these aren't people that would probably ever commit a murder. They would never think of it, but that they're taxed so much, or they're burdened so much, or their heart's breaking so much for whatever ailment their loved one has, that they're led to being murderers. It's just really screwed up all the way around.
I mean, look, the special needs kid is in need of special care. And if the parent, and this is where society comes in, because you don't always have the resources and means to take care of the child with special needs. But, I mean, they reference in the piece that you saw in the LA Times that the San Diego woman drowned her 4-year-old autistic son in a bathtub. I mean, this is clearly someone who is frustrated, right, and has no acceptable outlet apparently to handle that frustration or to get help. It's I mean, it makes you skin crawl.
I had never heard of Disability Day of Mourning, but I also didn't know that this was as prevalent as it is in this country. So just something to. It's always good to know more. The more you know more.
Yes, the more you know. Thank you.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
terrible to hear.
Right. But you feel compelled to shed a light. Thank you, Shannon.
What do you think Cash is doing right now?
I think sleeping again. Cash is my stray cat, and she's adorable. You would love her because she is super social.
Well, I'm sure you've got pictures on your phone you could share.
Well, but maybe I can find 400 or 500. But apart from that,
I'm sure there's video and all sorts of things.
how dare you?
I love your love for your feline friend.
All right.
Okay. All right. Was there a fifth plane on 9/11? There's a new investigation that raises some serious questions as to whether there was a fifth plane and where it was headed. We'll talk about it when we come back. Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Mark Thompson in with me today, and Deborah Marks on the news. The first day of spring is going to be a wet one. The National Weather Service says Southern California will see light rain today, and it'll get more intense tonight. Forecasters say we'll likely see heavier rain, very strong winds, and mountain snow late tonight. Robber who hit 2 locations on the same day in Larchmont Village. LAPD says the man allegedly responsible for both robberies last week had a
handgun and took cash, debit cards, cell phones, tablets, and designer bags from people. Some residents say they are shaken by the robbery.
Just the fact that, like, it's kind of been a common thing around here.
Works in the store in Larchmont Village. 12 KCLA businesses in the area are trying to work together to share surveillance footage of the street after the nearby break-ins. Police describe the robber as a black man, about 30 years old, 6 feet tall, and 180 pounds. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments in a water rights case brought by the Navajo Nation against the federal government and several states, including California. The Navajo Nation is asking the Supreme Court to ensure the tribe has access to enough water.
The Navajo Nation says 150 years ago, the U.S. government signed treaties that promised them a permanent home. A promise the Navajo Nation says includes a sufficient supply of water.
ABC's Mark Remillard. The case comes as western states are trying to deal with drought in an overtapped Colorado River. The federal government disputes the claim, saying more water for the Navajo Nation could cut into already scarce supplies. And money can now buy some legitimacy on social media.
Meta is finally coming out with its verified subscription service for Facebook and Instagram in the U.S. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says Meta Verified will start testing and then gradually roll out the paid feature in the coming weeks following tests in Australia and New Zealand. This will cost $12 a month on the web and $15 if you want to sign up through iOS or Android. Jennifer Jones leads KFI News.
Southland weather from KFI, mostly cloudy, may see some light rain, highs in the low 60s for Metro LA, upper 50s to mid 60s for the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley, mid 50s to around 60 in the Antelope Valley, upper 50s to low 60s for inland Orange County and the Inland Empire. Tomorrow, though, we're getting that heavy rain and it will be very windy. Right now, 57 in Seal Beach and 60 in Ladera Ranch. We're going to a crash on the 57 in Anaheim.
This is the Maryland northbound sign just before Catella. It's the right lane that's taken away, and we're meant to drive right now, heading northbound on the 57. Not too crazy bad. Definitely seeing a few delays approaching Catella. Further northbound, you will see a bit of a slowdown as you make it past the 91 port about Orangethorpe, and on the southbound side of the 57, still taking a pretty rough go for you as the morning drive heads into the midday from about Imperial, heading to the 91. 91 east and westbound still kind of problematic for you, westbound side especially from where Canyon near Overland Boulevard coming out of Overland to Anaheim Hill, seeing those delays continuing toward about State College. Eastbound 91, patchy delays straight from Harbor Boulevard as you make way back toward the 55. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Collier.
I was in my basement yesterday. I was actually building something, but I was remembering the time that I walked into that basement and there was about a foot of water in there. We had a pipe break, and what a disaster. So this is why you pay insurance though, right? You open up a claim with your homeowner's insurance company, and then you get the ugly life lesson that your insurance adjuster is trying to pay you so little you will not be able to repair the damage. I didn't know about Abner Gat at the time, and I sure wish I did, because this is the time to call Abner Gat. Abner Gat is looking out for you. Abner Gat is a public insurance adjuster who is on your side. You can try to negotiate with your insurance company yourself, but you're going to find really quickly it's not simple. Abner Gat negotiates on your behalf, make sure you are getting the best possible outcome, not that insurance company. He and his team have been dealing with insurance companies for many years. This is all they do. They've got the experience and the industry know-how you need on your side. They're also rated 5 stars on Yelp, Google, and Better Business Bureau. No one messes around with Abner Gat and his team. Give them a call, 818-917-5256, 818-917-5256, or visit AbnerGat.com. That's ABNERGAT, AbnerGat.com, or call him directly, 818-917-5256.
Stop going it alone for recruiting and staffing. Choose a local expert. Hiring is about getting to know people, not algorithms. So let the team at Express Employment Professionals hire for you. Visit expresspros.com near you.
I'm Martin Coates, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I told you about how your nose is the body's air filter. Good Navage is powered to cut out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, after walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer, unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without writing, and online. Navan, N-A-V-A-G-E, Clean Nose, Healthy Life.
Accident, to the car, take care and run. An iHeart radio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. The stories we are following for you today: Wall Street rising today after regulators pushed together two huge banks over the weekend, made other moves to build confidence. Vladimir Putin today. Putin warmly welcoming the Chinese reopening of Toontown.
Yes.
Toontown was always my lesser favorite part of the park.
Well, because it's for kids.
Oh, right. And there's lots of them there. I always just thought
You would run through Toontown. You wouldn't run, but you would walk.
time there, soaking it all in
To remind yourself.
myself. But we will have somebody who's a big fan of Disney coming on in the next hour to tell us all about the changes at Toontown. I also think that there's research to back up my claim about Toontown. I think it was one of the less traveled areas of the park.
Oh, that's interesting. And you know there are stats on that, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Ah.
We'll have to ask our Disney expert when she comes on with us.
Yeah, she'll know. She's all things Disney.
The captain of a United Airlines flight scheduled to take off the morning of September 11th, 2001, is convinced his plane was intended to be part of the coordinated terrorist attack. Pilot's name is Tom Manello, and TMZ has gotten into the documentary business.
Yeah, that's wild, huh?
TMZ investigates 9/11 this plane. It's going to debut tonight on Fox. He says, Tom, there's a good chance that somebody was plotting to try to use our airplane as a weapon of mass destruction. TMZ said it spent 6 months investigating these suspicious and alarming activities aboard Flight 23. It's a Boeing 767 that was due to leave JFK Airport for Los Angeles at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Among the planes,
This is what's the part that interests me, because it's like, okay, I get it. You kind of think that your plane might have been next, but then they do know this. What, Shannon?
he said he learned 2 box cutters had been found in the first-class seat pockets of the plane parked next to Flight 23, which had a tail number 1 digit off. He said if somebody was on the ground cooperating with them, they just simply made a mistake and put the box cutters on the wrong airplane. And it wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world to plant the box cutters on that plane at the time. Now, it makes sense. And how could you not think that your plane from JFK to LA would not have been one of those targeted?
Well, here, let me say, is how there are only so many of these guys, these terrorists, the group that, was involved in the 9/11 attacks. And I'll remind you that you could carry on the box cutter in the old days.
Sure.
So you don't need to plant them in some seat pocket. The fact is, those box cutters that were used in that brutal attack and killing, those box cutters were carried on. They were, as I say, they were permitted. It seems odd now, but this is why I kind of give that the eye roll.
Aboard the plane that day share their suspicions about 4 people in first class. Talking about 2 men, a child, and a person who was dressed in a hijab, with the crew believing it was a man pretending to be a woman. And then there was also the sweater, a man profusely sweating in business class. I feel like that's what's portrayed in the movies about 9/11, that some of the hijackers were profusely sweating.
But why then didn't this plane,
Cutters on the wrong plane.
so literally the whole operation was wrong because 2 box cutters didn't make it on?
I guess.
Yeah.
Why are you suspicious about this conspiracy?
Why is everybody believing everything that
I
you're
bet you also think those chemtrails are perfectly fine too.
Hey, one
And birds are really birds.
conspiracy theory at a time, please, people.
The flight attendant said the man was sweating profusely. It was very odd, she remembers, because it was 8 o'clock in the morning and the airplanes are ice cold anyway for that first flight out. And it was a cold morning, igniting an argument between the passengers.
Maybe he was sweating the fruit plate coming out on time.
And the first class attendant, a woman identified in the documentary as Deborah. Now, if I'm going to hijack a plane, I'm not ordering a freaking fruit plate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Food's probably the last thing on my mind if I'm about to take down a plane into a target. That they could, or the first class passengers allegedly were saying, we do not want to eat. We don't need food. We want to take off. We don't need food. We just want to go.
Yeah, well,
And then that plays into my side.
it does. You're right.
Because here's the thing. I've flown first class maybe twice.
We just want to take off. We just want to fly. I mean,
No, you don't.
yeah.
Give me all the free champagne. Like, give me 9 glasses before wheels up. I've never paid the actual cost of a first class ticket. I forget what airline it was where they let you bid on moving up to first class, and I bid like $50 or something. It was a flight to Seattle, and they accepted my bid, and so I was just like, I rubbed my feet into the bubbles. Like, when you sit in first class, you want to get all the accoutrement that comes with it, right? You want to take advantage of it. So it would be very alarming for 4 people to sit down and say, no, we didn't want anything.
Yeah. No, that, well, okay. So I'll give you that. I'll put that in the maybe it happened that way column. Yeah. I mean, it's provocative, and I'm sure it's going to be presented in a provocative way. You know, it's Harvey Levin and the TMZ people, you know. They did interview the flight attendants, the FBI did, later that day, and took them to a lineup at the port authorities to see if they could identify the first class passengers that drew their suspicion that the behavior seemed unusual. But no arrests were reported. So.
What happened to that family? What happened to the man in the hijab?
Yeah.
Where is he?
I don't know. FBI did not comment.
Wouldn't that be eerie if you're flying on 9/11 and you take off from New York and you land safely? And this was before people had to, or some people had cell phones, I guess. A lot of people had cell phones.
Yeah, cell phones are around.
But I don't know if did you use them to, I'm just trying to remember, there's rudimentary texting abilities, right?
Yeah, it's mostly, and there were calls from the planes.
There were calls from the planes, yeah. But if you're that pilot and you're, everything else is grounded and you're flying to LA.
Oh my God, yeah, you're thinking.
You're thinking that you could be next.
Yeah, this is, look, as I say, it's provocative, it's interesting. I don't buy it, but then again, I haven't seen it yet. So it's on, it's up tonight at 9 o'clock.
Cash isn't the only pet that will make the show today. Time to move over, Cash, for Mr. and Mrs. Pickles. We'll tell you about their plight when we return.
How dare you put Cash in the same category as Mr. and Mrs. Pickles?
Nobody puts Cash in the corner. All right, Gary and Shannon will continue. Mark Thompson in today, and Deborah Marks in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
2 adults have been arrested for allegedly posting online threats against Bell Gardens High School. The Bell Gardens Police Department says it was able to identify the person who made the online threat yesterday. A 3-year-old colt running his first race suffered a fatal injury at Santa Anita Park. The California Horse Racing Board says Beverly Vista was hurt during the 6th race Saturday and had to be euthanized. Beverly Vista is the 8th horse to die from a racing or training injury this year at the track, and was known as the coroner to the stars. Winter retired in 2019. It's not clear what caused his death. He was 73. Southland weather from KFI, mostly cloudy, may see some light rain, highs in the upper 50s to low 60s. This report brought to you by Jackson Hewitt from the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center. Let's go, please. We're going.
This go around as you're making your way westbound, right around, right, the close to the right shoulder, a big area in the car involved, have the right lane to the right for a decent amount of time. So the westbound 10 is still going to be a little rough for your ride in heavy stretches from before Euclid getting to the upland area. And see those delays continue to head towards the 57 and Kellogg interchange, rather. Westbound 3 there, or take the 210 west, this go around wide open for your drive. Adirond, Chickamauga, and Alabama off the 15 as you make way to the 57. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick calling you. This report is sponsored by Wendy. 2 for $6. The best deal is fast food. When you want the best deal on the few questions. Even if you had increases in sales during COVID, they are experts in this little known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned over $3 billion. So to find out if your business qualifies, go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button. It only takes a few minutes. Go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
In this week's Marketers Report, Chris Brand, Chief Marketing Officer at Chipotle Mexican Grill, weighs in on the power of audio, specifically audio influencers.
Audio has been a key component for us. Our consumer is omnichannel, so we need to be omnichannel. We've used audio, digital channels. When your priority is driving reach, boy, everybody seems to listen to the radio. I think using the audio influencers has been a huge component for us. Working with iHeart, we were able to really tease out the audio influencers in key markets that were authentic Chipotle fans. And because it's authentic and because they're seen as trusted friends by the customers and the listeners, it's really been an effective strategy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
For your guaranteed biggest refund and 50% off tax prep, switch to Jackson Hewitt. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Are you worried about your financial assets after recent events in banking? Cut through the market uncertainty with the tried and true safe haven against volatility. Gold! When it comes to investing in gold and silver, Legacy Precious Metals is the company you trust. Legacy Precious Metals is making it easier than ever to invest in precious metals with its revolutionary new online platform. With just a few clicks, you can open your account, select your metals, and start investing. They can store your metals in vaults or ship them directly to you. And you'll have access to a personalized dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime, putting you in complete control of your money. With Legacy Precious Metals, diversify your portfolio beyond bonds and stocks, safeguard your retirement, and preserve your portfolio's value against inflation. Protect your hard-earned money from market fluctuations. Call Legacy Precious Metals today at 866-691-2173 or create your free account now at buylegacygold.com. That's buylegacygold.com.
And now, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in store. Save low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small step for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Ralphs.com. Ralphs, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Earn extra fuel points and save even more at the pump. You can earn 4 times the fuel points on your grocery purchase this Friday with your digital coupon. Download your coupon on our website.
On the free iHeartRadio app, you never pay to hear what you love, and you never wait to hear what you want. Save your money, save your time, and listen anywhere. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, podcasts.
They put me in Disneyland jail for 6 hours.
What? Because you were throwing stuff from the skyway.
I was not throwing, I was dropping ketchup and mustard.
You deserve to be in Disney jail, mister.
How was that a jailable offense? Why didn't he just kick me out? He had other options. Oh, Kelly, yeah, big smile and point is like, live 7 to 10 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Mark Thompson hanging out with me while Gary is away. I do thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Former President Trump is preparing to be arrested in New York City tomorrow, but it could be days before he appears in court. Former President is only going to be arrested if he's indicted by a grand jury in Manhattan involving hush money to adult porn star Stormy Daniels. Trump may not even be handcuffed if you're looking forward to that, but he will be read his Miranda rights and booked before being arraigned. He'll most likely be out on bond right away.
They'll have a mugshot taken now.
Yeah.
He will be fingerprinted.
Right. And then given a pat on the back and
Yeah.
See you in weeks.
Yeah.
New report, he, by the way, called on his supporters to protest. And so far, the reaction has been tepid at best. It doesn't sound like he's got the pull that he had, at least leading up to the Capitol riot.
Doesn't have riot pull anymore.
Right.
It's a riot game. It's lost a little something.
Weak riot stream. New report says the first officers that arrived at Uvalde did not engage the shooter because of the weapon he was using. God, music. It's always terrible, isn't it? It's never got any better. It just gets worse. According to the Texas Trib, the officers told investigators they had no choice but to wait for backup after finding out the shooter was using an AR-15. No. Firing for the love of God.
Without a weapon at all.
Exactly.
If 11 of you go in, you know you're going to stop this.
Right.
Come on.
We've got some animal news to tell you about, including tortoises, bears, super rats, and dead fish.
Wow. Do I have a choice, or do you have to just go in some order?
Let's fire that video up.
There's no wild animals around here.
That is a big bird.
It's not an animal. Now, Wolfie's working on it. Was just I've never seen anything wild in that content.
It's so hard to believe. But I still say yeah.
All right. So, what do you want to start with, Mark?
I liked, what's the list again?
We've got
Super rats. I remember. Yeah, I like the super rats.
super rats. All right. Let's go. Residents in South Wales say they have been infected with super rats the size of cats, and no one can stop them.
Oh, I love it.
It's a resort called Tenby in South Wales. It's a sandy beach. There's a pretty harbor, scenic cliff views. Thousands of tourists crawl out here each year.
No wonder the super rats crawl out also.
Yes, but now the locals say the tourism could be sabotaged because of the super rats as big as cats.
Yeah.
They're going to overrun this resort town. And they are big. They are big rats. I've got an aggressive squirrel that I'm dealing with at home. Squirrel just does whatever it wants to. It's a terrorist is what it is.
Yeah. So you have some experience, you're saying, personally, with the kind of thing that they're dealing with in Wales.
The squirrel seems to be hiding nuts in a planter box.
That bothers you, does it?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it should hide its nuts somewhere else.
Why?
On its own land. It's aggressiveness. You know, like you're sitting outside and all of a sudden the squirrel is like right next to you, you know, doing what it wants to do.
Yeah, but all it
Kind of
wants
like
to do,
it's not the personality of a cat.
all it wants to do is handle the nuts that are in the planter box. It's not a big deal. It's not like it's aggressive.
But why my planter boxes? Why not the neighbor? Why do my planters get? There's no way good way
You should feel
to.
honored.
There's really no
You
good
should
way to
feel
end
honored
that.
that your planter boxes were chosen. These super rats remind me of the movie. There was a movie many years ago called Willard. And Willard was a movie about rats. I never saw it, but I just know that the movie existed. And the reason I remember Willard is because it was so successful as a horror movie. The rats take over, like just these super rats, like what's going on, that it birthed a sequel. And the sequel was called Ben. Okay, because Ben was, I think, maybe the son of Willard. I don't know. But Michael Jackson did a #1 song that was the theme of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. And so there was like a mini franchise there, Willard and Ben.
Like a
Yeah.
cult following.
And as you were telling the story about the super rats, I'm thinking it could come back. It's a Willard Ben movie kind of scenario that's being played there.
Now I really want to hear this song. Huh?
The song is great.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Pickles, shall we?
Yes.
Mr. Pickles is 90 years old, and he and his mate, Mrs. Pickles, has welcomed 3 new little ones. Could you imagine being 90 and giving birth?
And
I mean, not giving for you to give birth, but being 90 and becoming a father.
yeah, no, again, it's to still be
You could do it. I don't know if
reproductively
you know how
vital.
men's bodies work, but you could do it.
I don't know. It's funny that you should mention that. But to have that vitality going, you're saying, into your hundreds is pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's Mr. Pickles for you. He's an Mrs. Pickles as she was laying those eggs at closing time. The animal care team quickly recovered the eggs, got them to safety at the reptile and amphibian house. Now, it's considered unique because the soil in Houston is not hospitable to the Madagascar tortoises. And it's unlikely the eggs would have hatched had the keeper not happened to be there. So this is like miracle baby tortoises. She arrived in 96. They got to it quick. They knocked it out real quick because the Pickles welcomed their first baby in 1997.
Oh, maybe they're happy there then.
Of course they're happy. They're still banging around in their 90s.
That's what I'm saying.
Good for them.
Yeah.
There is a new job that you may be interested in New Mexico. The New Mexico Department of Game and Fish has posted a job listing on the Facebook seeking professional bear huggers.
It sounds it sounds dirty. That's
It
all.
sounds dirty.
Yeah.
How? How so? Walk me through this.
Well, aren't the people who are dressed up in
The furries,
the furries? Thank you. That's what makes me think of.
not always sex.
Oh,
We've
really?
done a deep dive on the furries.
Oh, thank you.
Several
Please
times.
do tell.
Sometimes it's not about sex.
I see.
Sometimes it's just about dressing up in furs.
Oh, well then, I have.
Sometimes it's about cut. Well, you weren't completely wrong. You just job post. Must have the ability to hike in strenuous conditions, have the courage to crawl into a bear den, and have trust in your coworkers to keep you safe during the process. No, no, and no.
Yeah.
If you're crawling into a bear den willy-nilly with no reservation, that's Darwinism. That's not a job.
Yeah, I'd say no and no for sure. Last two, calling the bear den and trusting your coworkers, I think I could say no to that. I think the first part where you're hiking around with them, that could be fun.
Would you trust me in a bear hole?
I trust you over a lot of other people. Yes, I
That
would.
means a lot.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
would. Right.
All right, coming up next.
Would you rather have Conway or me? I think probably you over Conway.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would not take on a bear.
Honey, I'm sorry. I was getting some action down on March Madness.
Coming up next, we'll dive into all things Washington. Trump is said to be in panic mode as he braces for likely charges revolving around a porn star. Okay, we'll do that when we come back to Gary and Shannon.
Oh, hey, everybody. Today is the first day of spring. The equinox. Not the gym, the day. Never mind. KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Getting ready for a strike. I'm Deborah Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. All Service Employee International Union members throughout California say they will stand with LA School District workers expected to go on strike tomorrow. Three-day walkout to protest unfair treatment will start in less than 24 hours. Executive Director with SEIU Local 99, Matt Arias, says he was puzzled by the district's attempt to hoard a nearly $5 billion reserve.
Not all the bathrooms are open. Playgrounds may be dirty. There's not enough staff to support students. There's not enough staff for sure to support special ed students.
LAUSD made new offers to both unions Friday while it filed charges against Local 99, calling the strike unlawful. The district's request for an injunction was rejected yesterday, confirming the workers' right to protest. In LA, Chris Adler, KFI News. Governor Newsom is working to have voters choose whether the state should invest more in treating people with mental health issues.
The governor's proposed bond measure would raise between $3 billion to $5 billion. Newsom says the money would create at least 6,000 new mental health treatment beds in what he calls state-of-the-art facilities.
We have to address and come to grips with the reality of mental health.
Newsom's proposal would also direct at least $1 billion from the existing Mental Health Services Act to house people with mental health and substance abuse issues. The ballot measure would go before voters in 2024 if approved by the legislature. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Officials in San Bernardino County say they're getting ready for more winter weather. They say this storm is expected to peak tomorrow and Wednesday and dump as much as 3 more feet of snow on mountain communities. Some of those areas were hit with as much as 10 feet of snow during storms in late February and earlier this month. Snow levels this time around are expected to drop to 3,000 feet. 2 to 4 inches of rain is also forecast for Mount Lily Trading on news of the deal allowing UBS to buy a smaller rival for more than $3 billion. Market strategist Art Hogan says the dip is not unusual.
Investors and banks and the market itself are likely to be on edge. But I think that once we get those answers, very much like the sigh of relief we're feeling in the European banks right now, we'll start to get that sometime next week in the U.S. regional banks.
The Swiss Federal Council passed an emergency ruling allowing the credit suisse to go through without the
everyday visit. ABC's Britt Lynette says it's the Chinese leader's first trip to before the war in Ukraine or after the war in Ukraine. The Chinese leader leads an obstacle in Chinese state media, underlining the need for talks to achieve lasting peace and common security. There are expectations of a call between Xi and Ukrainian President Zelensky sometime after Xi's Moscow visit. Russia says China's ceasefire plan for Ukraine is arrested in a case being investigated by the Manhattan DA's office.
I don't think people should protest this though.
McCarthy made the comment a day after Trump posted a prediction on social media that he would be arrested this week as part of the DA's investigation into hush money paid to porn actress Stormy Daniels. Trump called for his supporters to protest, as he put it, take our nation back. McCarthy did say DA Alvin Bragg is using his office for dark charges for injury attorneys. The Dow is up 316, S&P 500 up 28, NASDAQ up 20, and the average price per gallon of regular gas in California is $4.85. Wait, maximize your compensation after an accident. Host at Kobe and Myers now. Justice for you since 1972. Southland weather from KF5. Mostly cloudy, making light rain today. Highs in the low 60s for Metro LA. Upper 50s to mid 60s for the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley. Mid 50s to around 60 in the Antelope Valley. Upper 50s to low 60s for Inland Orange County and the Inland Empire. And tomorrow we get that heavy rain again, and it will be windy. Right now, 55 in Orange, 59 in Buena Park, at 63 in Agora Hills, and 56 in Sherman Oaks. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. We're going to crash on the 10 in Pomona.
From the 10 westbound Rocky River to Fairfax Drive, they just got everything over the right shoulder, but it is really slow. I say at least from Indian Hill Boulevard, and also in Industry, 60 west of Fullerton, got a crash clear and over to the shoulder from the middle lane. You're stacked up from the 67. San Jose Springs, 605 Southeast 45, heads up as diesel fuel still is in that middle lane. You've already got a slow ride from Whittier Boulevard. In Long Beach, 405 north of the 710, got a crash in the carpool lane. Lincoln Heights on the 5 north side of Mission Road, got a crash clearing to the right shoulder. It is going to be slow though from the 60. And also on the 101 north, right at Mission Road, near the on-ramp there, looks like we've got a sold out vehicle in the right lane. The second lane from the left out the tunnel. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jenny Harmon.
Losing your air conditioning on a hot summer day can be a sweaty old nightmare, and no one wants that, Zach. Help your air conditioner last longer and reduce breakdowns with a rejuvenation.
We'll make 6 critical adjustments so you'll stay cool, use less energy, and increase the life of your system.
And we'll clean the outdoor coils the right way, not the easy way.
Rejuvenation, $129.
Yellow Air Conditioning and Plumbing. GLETTL.com. We'll keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
License number 1047781.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ViralRabbi Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next day. Sleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ViralRabbi Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus next day energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
Poor Sam was a mess. Always itching, licking. His paws were soaking wet. He had bald spots on his back. PINOPITE.com. 2 weeks after he started Dynamite, I started seeing great improvements, and today 99% of his issues are non-existent. Dynamite is nutrition. Dynamite is the best thing you can do for your dog.
How happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
Termite problems? Search PacificCoastTermite.com or call 800-PACIFIC.
More stimulating talk.
And I have radio stations.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app on this Monday, March 20th, 2023, first day of spring, if you ask some. Not everybody agrees. Dodger spring training is here. Listen to every play from Arizona in HD on the free iHeartRadio app. Keyword AM 570 LA Sports. This afternoon, the Dodgers take on the Rockies. First pitch at 6:40. Your home of Dodger baseball is AM 570 LA Sports. Stories we are keeping an eye on for you today. You know, it's been 20 years since the war in Iraq began. President George W. Bush formally announcing the start of the war in a televised address, and its beginning was designed to bring shock and awe. Remember that? I remember watching that on TV. Bush spoke to the nation shortly after the explosions began to rock Baghdad. U.S.-led coalition forces launched air attacks about 90 minutes after a deadline for Saddam Hussein to leave Iraq had passed. First targets were hit with Tomahawk cruise missiles from U.S. aircraft and warships in the Persian Gulf. The U.S. declared an end to the war nearly 10 years after the fighting began. Barack Obama campaigned on ending the war when he became commander-in-chief.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
Didn't work out the way that they advertised.
The way it was in the brochures. I argued that. I remember arguing with some very smart people about that entire thing. I thought it was a huge mistake, but I wasn't alone. Many people were saying it's a huge mistake.
That was one of the first times in my adult life where I saw a division occur, a political division between people, and fully grasp and understand what it was all about. And I remember that the Dad's War, that being a topic of conversation. I was too young to really understand the pros and cons. But when that decision to invade Iraq really did divide people, one of the first ones I can remember.
Yeah.
The Washington News.
The government doesn't work.
They make it like a reality TV show.
What was the bad news?
Always a pleasure anywhere in Washington, D.C.
Hey, Joe.
Almost is clearly built on a swamp. In so many ways, still a swamp.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
The way to drain the swamp is the ocean. So
I'll keep you up there.
you know the thing.
Well, we have talked about the potential. It looks like it's on hold because there could possibly be 2 more grand jury witnesses to testify. Now, we mentioned earlier that once Trump came out over the weekend on Truth Social and said, I'm going to be arrested Tuesday, there's no way in hell they'd actually arrest him on Tuesday because they don't want him to think that he was right or that he has some sort of pipeline to get information out of the Manhattan DA's office. But now we're learning about these 2 witnesses. One witness is Rudy Giuliani lawyer Robert Costello, an ex-attorney for the key prosecution witness, Michael, I'm not a great guy, Cohen. Cohen himself may then be called by the prosecution to rebut Costello.
Right. Costello's there as the Trump legal team rep, meaning he was called in by Trump's legal team. And he was once a legal advisor to Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. So you're going to have Michael Cohen there. They bring in Cohen to rebut it, right?
The grand jury meets in secret Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons and will next convene for 3 hours today. The grand jurors must hear all evidence and be informed of the relevant law called being charged by prosecutors before they can begin deliberations and voting. If these tasks are not completed in 3 hours, grand jurors are going to come back on Wednesday, and then it's Friday as well.
So they say, I mean, this is the way the indictment is packaged, that the hush money that was paid to the porn star, Stormy Daniels, violated campaign finance laws. So that's what this whole thing is about. As Shannon was saying earlier, of the parade of...
To tweak you down. When you think about that campaign in 2016, he was a Teflon candidate. If someone comes out and he hooked up with a porn star, the evangelicals, I don't know what the timing was, but it sounds like this was not something that was imperative for him to become elected.
No, this is something I've said the same thing. I'm so glad to hear you say it, because it struck me as a weird place for him to draw the line. Like you survived, grabbed them by the teeth. You survived that entire thing and that conversation. You handled that in debate. It didn't affect your phone numbers, and still you paid the hush money. Now, here's the other side of that. If you're Trump, you're like, yeah, just pay her off. Keep her quiet. You know what I mean?
Right. He's probably done this a million times.
And so you play the Teflon that way, which is not going to stick to me. Just pay her, cut her a check. Let's be done with this stuff.
I know a specific Hall of Fame quarterback that I will not name, who has this reputation of having all sorts of these women and all different area codes, shall we say. But just pays them off, and you never hear about it. If I told you this person's name, you'd be like, no. I mean, maybe you thought they obviously could because of what their star power is.
Sure.
But you wouldn't think that this would be somebody that would mess around on his family as much as he does. But the key, according to people who know, is that he has them sign these contracts, he pays them off, and they remain quiet.
Wow.
And I'm sure this isn't the first one for Trump either. One of the odd stories that came out this morning was about Ron DeSantis. And he did something that is very creative, didn't he? He came out, and he's the one who brought up, maybe somebody asked him something about, what do you think about Trump? And he kind of laid out the dirty details. Ron DeSantis says, look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I just can't speak to that. So that prompts laughter and applause from the audience. So he's, on one hand, throwing Trump under the bus for being shady and, some kind of into some weird things. But then he goes after the Manhattan DA and says that this DA, Alvin Bragg, is pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. So on one hand, he's in Trump's corner, but on the other hand, he's taking swipes at him, which is smart.
Yeah, very, very smart.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, do me a favor, don't speak on my behalf again.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's a total smear on Trump, and then he moves out of the DA.
All right, coming up next, we will have all of the latest out of Washington when it comes to updated news for you, including the White House calling the House Freedom Caucus budget proposal a five-alarm fire. Gary and Shannon will continue. Mark Thompson in today, and Deborah Mark with the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
LA School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho has issued another plea for the Service Employees International Union Local 99 to return to the bargaining table in hopes of averting a 3-day strike set to start tomorrow. 3 men have been found guilty of killing rapper XXX Tentacion, who was shot outside a motorcycle shop in Florida while being robbed. The men were found guilty of first-degree murder and armed robbery by a jury that deliberated for more than 7 days. They will all get mandatory life sentencing for the murder in 2018 at a later date. Amazon CEO has told employees in a memo that the company plans to eliminate 9,000 more jobs in the next few weeks. We're going to a crash on the 405 in Long Beach. So the 405 northbound right before I get to the 7. And it was in the carpool lane. Looks like we just got that over the right shoulder. Still going to see some slowing on Frontier Avenue. Santa Fe Springs, 605 southbound, right on 55. Moving truck was leaking some diesel fuel in the middle lane. The truck itself is over on the right shoulder, but it's going to be slow from Washington. Rolling high, 60 west on Fullerton Road, got that crash clearing to the shoulder. Good news in Pomona, 10 westbound before it's Fairflex Drive. That crash cleared to the shoulder. Still going to be slow, though. I see some delays from Town Avenue. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jim Harmon.
If you are ever injured in an accident, could be a car accident, motorcycle, truck, even a dog bite, call a firm that's been helping injured accident victims for 18 years and winning.
We're talking about Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Sweet James settled $188 million this last year alone for their injured clients. And the best part is, every time they settle a case, they donate meals to those in need.
Yeah, they fed almost 80,000 people in the last year. Most people don't know what to do when they're in an accident. You may not be able to use your car. The injury may not allow you to go to work. It's no part of your normal everyday activities.
If it happens to you, just call Sweet James. Speak to somebody who cares. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah, you're going to get the compassion that you need. You're going to get help with medical treatment, and you're going to get the money and the justice you deserve.
So if you've been hurt in an accident, call Sweet James, voted best attorneys in America.
800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200. Or go to sweetjames.com.
This report is sponsored by Memorial Care. Whether it's Sunday afternoon or 3 a.m., whenever, wherever, they're with you at Memorial Care. Get high-quality care virtually or in person with video visits, day and night, 24/7 television.
When you want the best deal on the best meal, choose Wendy's 2 for $6. Pick from Dave's Single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece crispy nuts, or a medium strawberry lemonade. Pair any
in such a broad broadcast reach that is local, connected, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
Win Las Vegas welcomes you to Awakening, a new theatrical experience created by award-winning artists, enriched by spectacular sound. Meet colorful characters and journey with them through wondrous realms. Experience Awakening. Get your tickets at awakening.com.
Hey, all, it's Steve Sharp. For emergency backup power, there is only one name you need to know: Duffy Power. Since 1965, Southern California has relied on Duffy for powering the most critical situations. Hospitals and high-rises, data centers and school districts, every form of business, big or small, even homes and RVs. Whether it's a new generator or Duffy's legendary repair and maintenance services or an emergency rental, Duffy Power has you covered 24/7, 365. If you live or do business in Southern California, you know it's no longer a question of if the power is going to go down. It's only a question of whether you're just going to let it happen or take control. Taking control means it's time to call Duffy Power. To learn how to protect yourself from the next outage and all the ones after that, go to DuffyPower.com. DuffyPower.com. That's DUTHIE Power.com.
Pray.com's Meditative Prayers podcast is the best way to bring God's perfect peace into your life. Each meditative prayer helps you focus on God, fight anxiety, sleep better, and more.
As you close your eyes, ask God to come and have fellowship with you. Open yourself to the Holy Spirit and ask Him to minister to you.
Listen to Meditative Prayers on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Anybody who says, well, we really need more rain, you should have saved all the snow and rain from this past winter. Built storage systems and collected all this. And then we wouldn't have to worry for 20 years whether it rains or not. John and Ken, this was your big chance. Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, you can take that story home. You can write that down. Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Mark Thompson hanging out with me today. Coming up, we will get to the Buster Murdaugh story. That's right, another Murdaugh in the news. This is the surviving son. Of course, we told you about how dad was convicted of the murder of his wife and other son. Well, one of the bodies that's stacked up around this family involved the surviving son, Buster Murdaugh. And he is speaking out today after the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division reopened an investigation into one of his friend's deaths. He claims that he had nothing to do with Stephen Smith's death nearly 8 years ago. It was initially ruled a hit and run, zooming the body, and now Buster Murdaugh. In a statement, the White House argued spending cuts in the conservative cut current spending, place a cap on future spending, typical Republican things. Biden administration claimed the proposal would make the border less secure as it would eliminate funding for more than 2,000 border agents. You know, I just wanted to put a bow on this Trump story with him calling for protests over the weekend in connection to what could be his indictment. I was surprised by Marjorie Taylor Greene splitting with him on this. She's used, and she said people should not protest. That was a shocking thing coming from her.
Did she round off the comment, or she just said people should not protest?
She tweeted, "We don't need to protest about the communist Democrats planning to arrest President Trump and the political weaponization of our government and election interference.
That's what I wanted to hear.
These idiots are stealing their own fate in 2024 because the silent majority has two feelings right now about the current regime." Yes, you're right. You need needs to come with a dose of crazy, or it doesn't feel right.
And she never disappoints.
Kevin McCarthy also pushed back on Trump's calls for protests if he's indicted.
Small P on pushback, I'm guessing, with Kevin McCarthy.
It's all very weak strain.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I know we're doing political news in Washington, but you alerted me to this story, and I have been eating it up with a spoon about Good Morning America.
Yes, I love the GMA stuff because it's, that sexy in the morning.
It's so sexy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking off the air about how those two anchor people, and by the way, I got some pushback when I went public with my opinion that they should have stayed on the air.
Oh, no, I
See
said
that we're cheating and co-anchors, and I thought it would be a rating freaking
I said, get ready. Temporarily put Robin Roberts on a leave of absence for 3 months. You put those two on. All 3 hours. Not only did they really put on all, they are ratings catnip, and instead they get rid of them.
It was ridiculous. It's just, I would have watched that show for the first time in decades.
Thank you.
Had they left them on. Well, now there's a new problem at Good Morning America. This time it's with ABC weatherman Rob Marciano.
Handsome fool.
He has not reported from the Good Morning America studio for nearly a year. Why? It's not because he likes to work from home. He was banned from the Times Square studios where the show shoots daily because he made a colleague feel uncomfortable last year.
Lean into that handsome a little too hard. One time, that Rob Marciano.
Did you ever get in trouble as a weatherman?
No, I don't have that Rob Marciano look. I'll tell you, I met him years ago at a weather conference. He was a gorgeous dude. He's a very handsome dude, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous girl with him. I think they went on to get married. And he was at CNN at the time, I think. Then he went on to ABC, dumped the wife, or they got divorced. I don't know who them two. And now he's making news this other way. But he was always played up like World News Tonight played him up in the first segment almost every night. He had a star that was really burning brightly.
Yeah, well,
Now they wanted burning brightly outside the building, apparently.
they said he was found to have done something that was improper. He was punished for it. They still haven't let him return.
Well, he wasn't taking, staplers and school supplies. He was making women there specifically feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's unclear exactly what happened between he and his colleague, but one source told Page 6 that he had been dealing with some anger management issues while going through a divorce from his wife, Erin. He made people feel uncomfortable. There was a period where it took him off the air for a month following the alleged incident, but they still won't let him back in the studio several months later. This boss apparently is very no-nonsense, very serious. She's focused on the work. She wants to keep the staff focused and happy. Well, if he did something that has kicked him out for a year, why would they still have him on the air?
That was the question I had, which is it's so bad if you can get away with kicking him out of the building.
Right.
Why don't you bounce him? You must have a great agent or something. I'm looking at
Would you take a gig like that again?
I mean,
Knowing what it entails and getting up at 2 in the morning.
I don't think I would. I really don't.
It's just not worth it.
It's not. When they started to send the weather guys, like in Good Morning America, out to the hurricanes and stuff, I don't want to do that. I really
I
don't.
don't want to stand there in the wind.
Yeah, I'm cool. Because that's the theater part of it that you talk about. I mean, it's like I'm not really giving people information anymore. I'm kind of going calm.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to do it. And then, as you say, you wake up every morning, great. So you're going to make all this money. Yeah, but you're not going to enjoy it.
You're not
Because
going
you're
to.
tired all the time.
When you wake up at 2 in the morning, you're punchy by 9, and the day is gone, and it's like, but you have the whole day. And it's like, well, yeah, but I feel like I've been on, amphetamines for 2 weeks.
And remember, camera ready. You have to be. I mean, I did Good Day LA for a couple of years. It was brutal. You have to be camera ready at whatever hour. I'm amazed when I throw the television. These people are on 4 a.m. Fox 11, Channel 4, all of them Channel 5. They do a 4 a.m. show.
It's all I think about when I tune in to a morning show on TV. It's just I get tired because I know what it entails, what goes on into that,
And they do a nice job.
they do a great job. You have to really be into it.
I'm astounded at how good
Yeah.
those people look and sound and can speak.
I would be able to fake it through the tired. I'd just be a miserable thing.
But if you're Rob Marciano, even if you're getting kicked out of the GMA, just to go back to the story, life's pretty good. You know, he doesn't really have a lot of it sounds like he might have some anger management problems.
Is he that good looking to keep his job through something that would get him banned?
I don't know. I mean, it depends how bad. Like, you know, TJ I thought was pretty good looking too, or he is pretty good looking. It wasn't good looking enough to keep his gig. Although I think that both TJ and Amy got big payouts.
I actually think I like him more with facial hair than without.
Rob Marciano,
It was rare for me to feel.
Candace got her Rob Marciano.
I've got my image search over here. All right, when we come back, Toontown has reopened.
Don't feel bad. I looked up his wife.
Okay.
It's a different wife than the one I met.
Oh, wow. Okay. Toontown is reopened. We will get a live report on someone who has experienced in a Toontown here on Gary and Shannon. Deborah Bart is in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Financial health could take a while for people in the San Bernardino Mountains trying to recover from the storms. Property owners who have damage first have to go through their insurance company. The county's emergency operations director says government help supplements insurance coverage. It doesn't replace it. So far, more than 626 homes and other buildings have been damaged or destroyed in the storms, and the department is still weeks away from completing its damage assessment. A man has been hurt during a Civil War reenactment in Harupa Valley. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department's deputies went to Jensen Alvarado Historic Ranch and Museum Saturday and found the man had been hit by some kind of projectile from an artificial gun. Cops say it was not a live round. The man was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Police say no arrests have been made and do not believe foul play was involved. The Federal Reserve will close a two-day meeting on Wednesday with its latest decision on whether to keep raising interest rates in an effort to tame inflation. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis says there's a sense of caution on Wall Street after UBS said it would buy Credit Suisse for $3.25 billion to avoid a third bank failure this month.
The Credit Suisse deal following a week of volatility and panic set off by the collapse of two major U.S. banks, Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. The central bank has been increasing rates in an effort to make borrowing more difficult and slow the economy. Analysts say odds are tilted again toward an increase of 25 basis points in the Fed funds rate to a range of 4.75 to 5%. A person has been arrested for a shooting outside a high school in Dallas that left two students hurt.
Lamar High School in Arlington, directly between Dallas and four classes, were about to begin when someone heard gunfire outside.
ABC's Jim Ryan says the conditions of the two students is unknown. He says the school will remain on lockdown during the investigation. Police say the suspected shooter never entered the school building and was arrested soon after officers arrived. Southland weather from KFI looks this Friday may see some light rain. We're looking at highs in the low 60s for Metro LA, upper 50s to mid 60s for the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley, mid 50s for around 60 in the Antelope Valley, upper 50s to low 60s for inland Orange County and the Inland Empire, and then we get that heavy rain again tomorrow and Wednesday, and it is going to be very windy tomorrow. Right now, 56 in Cypress, and it's 54 in Brea. We're going to a crash on the 71 in Pomona. 71 northbound, right at the 10 connector, a brand new crash. It is in that 10 divider area. And then on the 10 west, right at the 57, a couple of cars hit some potholes. They are stopped in the lanes. Roland Heights, 60 west on Fullerton Road. That earlier crash cleared over the right shoulder. In Long Beach, 405 northbound before you get to the 710. That wreck in the carpool lane cleared to the right shoulder as well. Still going to see some delays from Cherry Avenue. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jennifer.
Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. Pick from Dave's Single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece crispy nuts, or a medium strawberry lemonade. Pair any two for just $6. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6.
I'm John Morgan from Morgan & Morgan. Tender, just style, pound long. That's all. Morgan & Morgan, America, and now the universe's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an offer near you.
I'm Mark Toth, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter. The Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, my doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver. Unquote. She's one of over 100
application trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Looking for your next investment opportunity? How about 100% passive ownership in commercial real estate? First National Realty Partners is backed by $1.5 billion in commercial real estate assets from Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger's, Publix, and more. Grocery store anchored commercial real estate offers day one cash flow from high credit national tenants, tax advantages with 1031 exchanges, inflation fighting triple net lease, and more. Get information on current and upcoming opportunities today. Call 888-301-9010 or go to fnrpradio.com. Become an investor in owned and managed commercial real estate with national grocery store brand tenants producing quarterly cash flow. Call 888-301-9010 or go to fnrpradio.com. Securities are only available to verified accredited investors. Investments are subject to risk, including loss of principal. Cash distributions are not guaranteed. Any representations made about investment stability reflect FNRP's strategy and may or may not be realized. Visit fnrpradio.com.
Dennis Dillon RV, DDRV.com. Massive overstock sale, over 1,000 RVs. You hear what's happening here. Now you can see it too. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KFI AM 640.
Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, we're going to be talking Mixtape Monday coming up in the next hour, and cover songs are the topics of the day. Do you have cover songs that you particularly love?
I sent a couple of covers to Mondo, knowing that you were going to be doing this.
Yes.
Yes,
you did your homework.
I quickly sent him one that I think you're going to like.
Okay, I'm excited.
The other one I don't think you're going to like.
Oh, really? Some of the best covers, you don't know that they were covers.
Right.
You know, you're like, wait, that was redone? That wasn't that person who originally sang that?
Yeah.
And it's wild. Let's see, coming up also, we will be talking about March Madness. I just found myself unleashing a string of expletives at the television over a school I had never heard of on Friday. It felt good to have that competitive blood pumping through my veins again after the football season. So that was a lot of fun. Truly March Madness. But first, before we get to the expletives, we will get the nice stuff out of the way. Disneyland got an update on its Toontown, which I've never really been a fan of the Toontown, but like you mentioned, it's probably because it's for children.
Right. It's not designed for you to be a fan of it.
Right. Kristen Carr is a huge fan of Disney. She is a Disney creator. She's a journalist. She's a podcaster. She does Disney-themed events and knows all things Disney. She's an expert. Kristen, thanks for joining the show.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So, how much of a fan, on the scale of 1 to 10, of Disney would you say you are?
I mean, do I admit publicly? I don't know, maybe an 8, but privately, people would know I'm about 12.
Okay. I feel like you're honest, dude.
What's a Disney creator?
Basically, we share and sort of try to expose our audiences to everything Disney.
Awesome.
So, you, well, first of all, do you have a favorite part of the park of Disneyland?
Funny enough, I grew up going here. I absolutely love everything about Disneyland. But funny enough, I have a really, really just affinity and love for the new Galaxy Star Wars Land.
No, that's great. That's where, that interactive thing, right? Shannon, you've been down there? You've seen it?
It's really incredible.
You know, I went to Disneyland and checked that out the last weekend before COVID hit. And the week after I went to check that out, they closed down the park. I got in there.
Kristen, let me tell you quickly, and Shannon, you as well, what happened to me when I rode that. We get on there, and halfway through, right there when you're interacting with the characters, they had a problem with the ride. That must have happened. You must have seen this happen a bunch of times, Kristen, because you're there so much, but I've never seen you. And they take you out through this back entrance. And it looks like they're going through, like, you know, it could be a convention center back entrance somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and they tell you, come back, you'll show this or whatever, like this is the pass or whatever, and you get back on the attraction. Once we get it working again, it'll be like an hour and a half or something. But it was, well, and that, the good thing about that was it was almost like riding the ride a second time.
One of the most troubling things in life is to see Disneyland behind the scenes, though. When I was arrested for shoplifting, and that man in his khakis took me behind the Star Trader and into this wall, this door I didn't even know existed, and then you see, you know, Disneyland behind the wall, and it's terrifying. It's like you don't want to see Disneyland shut down or broken or, you know, the jail. Anyway, so
First of all, that is a badge of honor, and so I'm so impressed with both of your stories because Shannon, that is quite the small circle that you have of people who have been to Disney jail. So that's impressive in its own right.
yeah, I kind of feel bad for some Disney fans that they haven't seen the inside of the jail, and I have. Like the people who want to get into all the nooks and crannies of Disney.
No matter what Shannon says for the rest of the show, Kristen, the line when I was arrested for shoplifting will be the best line of the entire day. So anyway.
So tell us about Toontown. What is it now versus what it was?
Well, so Tucson originally opened in 1993. I was about 10 years old at the time. I do remember it, and I think I was a little bit too old. I did enjoy it because I just loved all the characters, but obviously it's been quite a long time since they sort of refreshed it or given it anything new. We do have the new Easter egg attraction, which is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is amazing because it's an amazing ride overall, and Florida did get it first. We have it now, but that is really the biggest e-ticket attraction to hit the back of that park. And now it's one of the only e-ticket attractions that has no height requirement, no age limit. So this new land is absolutely incredible for families with young children. So really, it's just one of those places you want to go, and there's tons of grass now. There's all these reimagined play areas, all interactive. So many fun things for little kids to do. I have 4 children myself, so I love going there in general, but now I'm really excited to go back with the kids. I went back with the kids this weekend, and my kids are varying ages. Obviously, I have twins that are 5, and then I have 2 boys that are a little bit older, and they actually still loved it. They're 8 and 9 years old, and they were so excited to go and kind of check it out. So lots of stuff, and I love the way that everything is really in tune to how children play versus how we think they should be doing things. There's a lot of interactive stuff, a lot of fun, so much turf for families to sit and have little picnics and little rest areas, which everybody that's been to Disneyland knows you definitely need little areas of escape, and this is going to provide that. And there's 3 rides there now, so now you can go on Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, you can go on Roger Rabbit's Spin-Out, and you can go on the newly reimagined Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster.
Well, it's true that there was always kind of a passive aspect to Toontown. It wasn't really Rideville. It was sort of just experience it. And now that you've added, as you suggested, meaning you mentioned these rides that are there in Toontown, it seems like a different kind of experience. And the interactivity, now this is, Shannon, again, you can't shun this experience.
Mm-hmm.
The interaction that you have with the characters there in Toontown, I always thought that was a pretty cool thing too. And again, I'm not a fan of Toontown per se, but I like that the performers interact with the visitors, and you're saying there's more of that now.
You also have all the characters that everyone really loves. You have the classic characters, and you have Mickey's house, which is so fun, and Minnie's house. So stuff that is really interactive, and it's super immersive as well because those kids walk in and they get to see like the couch and the TV that Mickey would use. And I feel like it's very much one of those places you feel like you're in the cartoon with them. So you get to meet Mickey in his house, walk through his living room, see his laundry detergent, and just little